Good morning. How are you? I hope your day is good. I hope your day is very good. Oh, Glue Stick, you have an appointment in 20 minutes. Well, I hope you have a great appointment. I hope it's like amazing. Just amazing. I'm sorry, my hair's still wet. Good morning. I thought it was Thursday. Okay. I thought it was Thursday this entire time. I'm just going to say. Dan, hi. How are you, darling? Welcome. I'm so glad you're coming these days to the show. I really appreciate it. Good morning, darling. My. I spent this entire morning thinking it was Thursday. What in the hell? I thought I had one more day until Friday. But no, we have 2 more days. Well, this morning, what I have for you is Casey Means, who is the guru girl boss bitch, who's going to be the Surgeon General. And she's apparently a wellness guru. So I can't wait, because this might be the one thing that keeps me awake this morning. Because frankly, that was too late. Will Lolo's Lounge be watching? Yes, I am. Yes, Max. I see you on Discord. I am going to watch the Casey Means confirmation hearing to be girl boss bitch guru. Wait a minute. Coverage begins. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. You're supposed to do it now. I mean, this is 10 a.m. Hello. Weirdos. You weirdos. Yeah, so we're going to watch Casey Means. Good morning, Lee. Good morning, darling. Oh, my God, Lee. I got to tell you, everyone, I was watching, as I do every morning, which is dumb. Well, I don't do it every morning. That's not true. But I was watching PBD broadcast this morning, right? Podcast or whatever the fuck it is. Patrick Bet David, the MLM, you know, taker advantage of children. I've seen so many stories of kids who've gone through his MLM nonsense and just worked and tried to raise money for him. It's just he's gross. Patrick Bet David, you're disgusting. And they were talking. They had a fake economist on this morning. I don't know who this guy is, but he's not very smart. And they were talking about the State of the Union and just how amazing it was and how amazing the president is and just how amazing everything he said was, and that no one's going to give him any, benefit on the economy. Hey, Pep. Hi, Sharon Brown. So no one's going to help him on the economy. So And I thought he had great unscripted moments. Yeah. So anyway, they were going on and sucking off literally a child, a credibly alleged child rapist. I don't know. Make it make sense. I'm not really sure. Okay. So anyway, but then, oh wait, they're starting. Hold on. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Stop. I want to tell a story. But we're going to start because I need to wake up anyway. So let me wake up a little bit. Then I'll tell you all kinds of stories. But first, fucking poop buckets. Okay, there it is. I just don't think my hands work. I think that's my problem. All right, here we go. Ah! Damn it. Sometimes I hit the wrong button. Uh-oh. Why can't I hear it? Wait a minute. I literally just tested this. All right, hold on. Okay, wait a minute. Just everybody calm down. Everybody calm down. What am I doing? What do I have wrong? What did I do wrong? This literally worked a minute ago. Yeah, right. I know. And J Rance is like, yeah, sure it did. Yeah, sure it did. What the fuck? Hold on. Oh my God, what did I do? Wow, it's just like, it did this to me last night too. I mean, it's obviously not doing anything to me, but my God. Oh, it's not, okay. Okay. Oh, the soda being great. Yeah. Well, that too. But yeah. Monitor and output. Okay, I've got to get him to stop to talk. Wow, this is so fucking weird, y'all. I do not understand. Literally, I had Glenn Beck, of all people, on right before this. Oh, I'm going to be really mad if this doesn't work. Okay, hold on. I am very confused. Okay, let me think about this. Oh my God. That. Let me try another website.
Very cruel.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure I understand why this one works, but that one didn't. Okay. Let's go to the back, to the start of Bernie. Apologies.
First. This is especially important as HHS undergoes substantial personnel and policy changes. Dr. Means, it should be your mission and the mission of every HHS official to restore stability and assure Americans that protecting health is the top priority. I look forward to learning more about your public health priorities and views. With that, I recognize Senator Sanders.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Dr. Means, for being here. Congratulations on your baby.
Thank you.
Today, we are considering President Trump's nominee to be the next Surgeon General of the United States. The Surgeon General is considered the nation's doctor, a trusted leader who tells the American people the truth about science and medicine. Previous Surgeon Generals have warned the American people over the years about the dangers of smoking, drunk driving, loneliness, providing recommendations based on scientific evidence, not ideology. Dr. Means, you have made it clear to us that you believe it's time to, quote unquote, make America healthy again. That is a great slogan that I expect that everybody up here agrees with. In America today, we have a very unhealthy society, and there are a lot of reasons for that. The chairman mentioned some of them. But perhaps the most important reason is that we have a healthcare system that is broken.
It felt like an award ceremony.
And in fact is very cruel. In America today, we spend over $5 trillion a year on healthcare. Believe it or not, that is more than $15,000 for every man, woman, and child in our nation, twice as much per person of nearly any other major country. And yet, despite that huge expenditure, we remain the only major nation on earth that does not guarantee health care to all people as a human right. The result, over 85 million Americans are uninsured or underinsured. More than 500,000 Americans go bankrupt due to medically related debt, and 68,000 Americans die every year because they cannot afford to see a doctor. If anybody in the world thinks that that is a rational healthcare system, you're living on another planet. In terms of life expectancy, we live 4 years shorter on average than people in other countries. As unacceptable as that is, if you are working class in this country, you can expect to die 7 years earlier on average than if you're in the top 1%.
I have that pulled up. Thank you so
Further,
much.
as
and
bad
I'm so
as our
sorry you're in
overall
snow
healthcare
day. I
system
hope
is,
you
our
have cocoa
primary
and a
healthcare
blankie.
system is even worse. Today, tens of millions of people live in a community where they cannot find a doctor, a dentist, or a psychologist, even when they have decent insurance, while others wait months to get seen. Yes, Mr. Chairman, we must make America healthy again. Unfortunately, the problem is that since coming into office, President Trump and Secretary Kennedy have done the exact opposite. As a result of massive cuts to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act, 15 million people will be losing the health care they had. Studies suggest that when you throw 15 million Americans off of health care and make over $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid and the ACA, some 50,000 of our fellow Americans will die unnecessarily each and every year. Secretary Kennedy and the Trump administration continue to spread dangerous conspiracy theories about vaccines, making it harder for Americans to protect their children from deadly diseases. I am having a hard time understanding how any of this will make America healthy again. In my view, we need a Surgeon General who has the courage to take on President Trump and Secretary Kennedy and say, no, it is wrong to throw 15 million off of health care. It's wrong to double premiums for 20 million more Americans.
I'm
it's
sorry.
wrong
She's
to
gonna play
spread
the company
misinformation
trumpet.
about vaccines. And that's just not me talking. That's precisely what 6 former Surgeon Generals, 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats who served under Trump, Obama, George W. Bush, Clinton, and George H.W. Bush have told us. In an op-ed they wrote in the Washington Post, that's what these guys wrote. A few months ago, they said, quote, the actions of Health and Human Services Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. are endangering the health of the nation. He has rejected science, misled the public, and compromised the health of Americans, end quote. That is, Republicans and Democratic former Surgeon Generals. So, Mr. Chairman, there is a lot to be discussed, but I have very serious questions about the ability of Dr. Means to be the kind of Surgeon General this country needs. Thank you very much.
Dr. Marshall will introduce the nominee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm certainly humbled and honored today to introduce Dr. Casey Means. I want to thank you for joining us here this week. I'm especially glad we're able to hold this meeting, which was long overdue. But being in labor is one of the best excuses we've had to delay a hearing. So congratulations to your family. We hope baby boy Phoenix, 17 weeks old today, is doing great. And again, we appreciate you being here. As my colleagues have already said,
She
today
spawned.
nearly
Look
8
at,
in
look at
10
what's his name, Mark
adults,
Wayne Mullins, looking
representing
at her like
almost
she's
200
like
million
a
people in this
birthing
country, live with at least
cow.
one chronic disease: obesity, diabetes, heart
Look
disease,
at women like cows
hypertension.
now.
Our children, the pride of this nation. The situation is equally alarming.
Then why do you
Approximately
support a
20% of our youth
pedophile, a
are
credibly
obese. 1 in 3
alleged
adolescents
child rapist as
aged 12 to
president?
17
I
have
don't get it.
pre-diabetes, 1 in 3. And when it comes to our mental health, at least 1 in 5 American adults, 60 million people experience some form of mental illness each year. Those are epidemic numbers. We need a Surgeon General, the nation's doctor, to guide us back to health, mobilizing science-based strategies to prevent disease, promote wellness, and address these epidemics head on. The Surgeon General serves as our country's chief health educator, but more than an educator, a coach, a cheerleader, providing evidence-based guidance to improve health and respond to crises while leading the U.S. Public Health Service Commission Corps and advising on key policies. Over the course of this process, I've truly enjoyed reading Dr. Means' books, her publications, and getting to know her, and hearing her thoughtful vision for improving the health of Americans. Dr. Casey Means is uniquely qualified, Stanford-trained physician who began surgical training at Oregon Health and Science University, where she excelled in clinical performance and patient care for underserved populations before leaving that traditional system.
She's a wellness influencer.
Like many of
That's
us, she was
literally who you're
disillusioned
gonna
by
hear
its focus
from.
on treating symptoms versus addressing the real causes. She left it to champion preventive metabolic health. She co-founded Levels Health, using innovative glucose monitoring to empower metabolic health insights, and authored the best-selling book, Good Energy, which I'd recommend everybody on this committee to read to better understand exactly who she is. She offered science-based strategies to prevent chronic illnesses through lifestyle changes. Dr. Means brings a forward-thinking vision focused on prevention, innovation, and
Did you
patient
just hear
empowerment.
that? He said that she uses lifestyle changes to avoid whatever medications or something. I'm still a little asleep. But what? She's a fucking hack. She's one of those stupid wellness gurus like, hey, stop apologizing, girl. Wipe your tears, girl. Just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, girl. She's an idiot.
Understanding the context in
An
which the AI
idiot.
is operating. That's something that we try to tell people and give people information, for example, about the fact that AI may not always be accurate. And
She is a proven communicator. She's appeared on over 200 podcasts.
I was doing the
She's
UK
a faculty
one, sorry.
course director at Stanford. She's been featured in articles in the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, New York Times. She inspires, educates on complex health issues. She's poised to shift us from reactive sick care to proactive health care, emphasizing metabolic health to truly make America healthy again. Her entrepreneurial spirit and clinical background would drive solutions prioritizing outcomes over bureaucracy, aligning with the Make America Healthy movement again. So that's my formal introduction from my heart, from my heart. Go back to our childhood, in my childhood in the 1960s, everybody smoked. Everybody did. But a Surgeon General, Dr. Luther Terry, under LBJ, had the courage to stand up and say, smoking causes lung cancer. He wasn't able to finish the job. It was then under President Nixon that the next Surgeon General, Dr. Jesse Steinfeld, stepped forward and educated children who then educated their parents on the hazards of smoking. Something that I see every day, my kids educating me on what good nutrition, healthy nutrition looks like. And then who can forget Surgeon General Dr. C. Everett Koch, who gave us moral and scientific clarity during the AIDS epidemic. And that's what I think Dr. Means can be. I think that she can move the needle. We do have a chronic health epidemic. No one can deny that. And like I said before, we need a Surgeon General who's more than an educator. We need a coach. We need a communicator. We need a cheerleader to address these chronic diseases. And I believe that Dr. Casey Means is the person for the job. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Dr. Means.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman Cassidy, Ranking Member Sanders, and members of the Senate Health Committee. I want to thank President Trump for nominating me to serve as Surgeon General and for Secretary Kennedy for his support. Thank you for also being willing to postpone this hearing. When I went into labor 5 hours before the hearing started in October, our precious baby boy was born on the hearing day. As a physician, I have always been inspired that the root of the word healing means to return to wholeness. Nothing is more urgent than restoring wholeness for Americans, physically, mentally, and societally. We are now the most chronically ill, high-income nation in the world. We live shorter, sicker lives than peer high-income nations. Today's children are projected to live shorter, sicker lives than their parents. We spend trillions annually on reactive sick care. Nearly 150 million Americans are on federal health care programs, and we spend $50 billion per year on research. Yet outcomes are worsening and disparities are widening. Our nation is angry, exhausted, and hurting from preventable diseases. Rates of high blood pressure, many cancers, autoimmune conditions, type 2 diabetes, mental health disorders, dementia, neurodevelopmental challenges, and youth suicide have all increased in the past 2 decades.
Why did
This
she
public
bring
health crisis.
Why did she bring Matthew McConaughey with her? Why is Matthew McConaughey there? Or Joaquin Phoenix? Why did she bring Joaquin Phoenix or Matthew McConaughey or I don't know who? Why is he there? Who are you? Yeah, her big show is Big Pharma is wrecking our health. Everybody should die, and then we should have just healthy people live. Yeah.
This is
fucking
touching
hate her
every
already.
American family.
I
It is
hate you
robbing our
already,
children of
bitch.
possibility, our workforce of productivity, and our nation of security. It strains our federal budget and dims hope for millions. We must confront this epidemic through a vision grounded in science, dignity, shared humanity, and a respect for freedom, not politicization and division. Public health leaders must address the evidence-based, modifiable drivers of chronic diseases, which include ultra-processed foods, industrial chemical exposure, lack of physical activity, chronic stress and loneliness, and over-medicalization. I've been asked to help our nation get healthy and answer the call of millions, especially mothers, who are begging for transparency and support. That is what I'm here to do. I believe that every American shares a core yearning to thrive and help their families thrive. but we are asking people to make healthy choices in environments that are squarely structured against them. Good policy and education can make health easier, more affordable, and more accessible. I know our current leaders at HHS and across the federal government are committed to the ambitious policies outlined in the MAHA strategy released last year that focuses on advancing research, aligning.
No. Let me read to you. Casey Means is an American entrepreneur and author. After graduating from Stanford Medicine in 2014, she proceeded with an ENT surgical residency at Oregon Health and Science University, but dropped from the program near to the 5-year program completion, choosing instead to practice functional medicine. I don't know what functional medicine is, but yes, her license was inactive as of the end of 2023. She does not have a fucking medical license. And she didn't even finish the program at fucking Oregon that she is claiming that she was a member of. I don't want this woman to kill me. I don't want this baby factory to kill me, okay?
Aligning incentives, increasing public awareness, and fostering private sector collaboration to end the chronic disease epidemic. Specific efforts are already underway to fund and promote more whole, healthy food for Americans, address financial conflicts of interest in our agencies, fund research focused on disease prevention and reversal, and make institutions accountable to measurable health outcomes for all Americans. President Trump and Secretary Kennedy have invited a mature, candid, grand conversation about how our medical education and fixing perverse incentives can pull us back from the brink. And for this, I am profoundly grateful. My professional history has prepared me to meet these very complex times as an innovative,
perverse incentives?
unifying, and practical
What are
leader
perverse
focused on
incentives?
reversing chronic disease.
What is she talking about?
Over the past 15 years, I have treated thousands of patients in clinics and operating rooms. I have run my own medical
God, my nose
practice
is stuffy.
and co-founded a health technology company that empowers individuals with metabolic health data to address blood sugar dysregulation, a problem now affecting over 50% of American adults and 30% of teens. In this role, I recruited leading researchers from Yale, UCSF, Brigham Young University, Cleveland Clinic, and more to support this effort. And the company launched a 10,000 participant academic industry research collaboration on early metabolic disease detection. I've held biomedical research positions at the National Institutes of Health, Stanford University, New York University, Oregon Health and Science University, and published this biomedical research in leading medical journals. I was recruited as a faculty course director at Stanford University, where I taught undergraduate and graduate students on nutrition and health. I have served as an associate editor of an international medical journal focused on prevention and disease reversal. I have spoken internationally on chronic disease and wrote one of the most successful health books of the decade, outlining a vision for reversing this epidemic through personal empowerment, culture change, and policy reform. I graduated from Stanford University with honors and from Stanford Medical School, where I was inducted by unanimous faculty vote into the Honor Society for Patient Care. In conclusion, mental and physical health are unraveling from shared root causes that we can fix. Preventable heart disease, our #1 killer in men and women, is emblematic of a nation
Oh shit. I don't know what just happened. Sorry. Oh crap. God damn it. Oh yeah.
a medication in their body.
I just want to say that she believes that food can change your metabolism. She's into you can transform your health by improving your metabolism. So she literally, there's a headline on her own website that says how to create a fast metabolism. Yeah. Let's see what it is. Okay. We're going to increase your mitochondrial processing. Hold on. I'm just going to tell you. Hold on. I wish I had my hair. if I had my hair, maybe you could see this. But hold on, I'm gonna tell you what she wants you to. I don't want your fucking web letter, bitch. Hold on, because you gotta see this. It's really great. Hold on, fatties. Hold on, fatties. I'm coming for you. Just kidding. Just kidding. You bought a trucker hat? Oh, fuck yes, girl. I know, those meta glasses. Are those meta glasses? I think it's either, that's either Matthew McConaughey or who was the other guy I thought it was? I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, is there such a thing as a slow or fast metabolism? It's a question many people wonder about in their pursuit of more energy as well as weight loss. Hey, fatties, come closer. Come closer, fatties. I want to tell you something. Before we answer the question, we have to think about what is metabolism actually? I don't really know. Okay, blah, 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 blah. It's a complex process. So we can make more cellular energy from food. Hello? Buy my book. This represents a faster metabolism, burning through more food energy, which contributes to a healthier weight, fatty, and making more ATP, more energy. Yeah, genetics play a role in our metabolic rate, but stop making excuses, girl. It's a small part of the picture. We can do more. We need more. Each mitochondria must be more functional, and we need to make more mitochondria. That's the secret. I've written a new book called Mitochondria Secret. Getting each mitochondria to churn through more. Come on, mitochondria, work harder. Okay, I'm going to promote mitophagy. You don't know what that is, but it sounds really good. Okay, well, all these things, we're going to do them. And guess what? Here's what you have to do. Let me tell you, this is a big, I made this on PowerPoint about in 1986. Yep, that's from 1986. I know, I wasn't born. Now, the photo looks complicated, but the main point is there are so many different things that can cause damage to our mitochondria. And anything that does can lead to problems with how... Whoa, okay, listen to this sentence. And anything that does can lead to problems with how our ARE cells make energy. How you doing, Casey? How you doing? How you doing, girl? Who wrote this sentence? Because it doesn't make any sense. Getting each mitochondria. Okay, let me just quickly tell you how you're supposed to do it, okay? You need to physical exercise, okay? Endurance training, which means you need to really kill yourself. All you oldies, never mind, okay? Because nobody cares, okay? Just sit there and die, whatever. Anyways, so then, you know, you just have to, and then I'm going to activate your mitophagy related signaling pathways. You don't understand that, and that's fine. Certain compounds like urolithin A that is made, and you can buy a bottle of urolithin A on my website. Just click here. Oh, wait, I actually have it. Oh my God, here's my study. Oh, whoops, no, I don't want to do that. You're scary. You don't even give me a way to get out of it. And then, so yeah, just take urolithin A. You can get it on my whatever. And then you could drink pomegranate juice to do the urolithin, but don't. Just buy my bottle. Anyways, and then curcumin, quercetin, omega-3 fats, and resveratrol from berries and grapes. All those things. Just eat all that. Just eat all that. And guess what? You won't be a fatty anymore. Okay? Isn't that going to be great? It's going to be so great that you're not going to be a fatty anymore. Oh my God. I love it. Yeah, join me. That's right. We're all going to be skinny together and have lots of babies. She is not a surgeon. She's not a general. She's not any of those things. Yeah. The people... Yeah, the compulsive liars. Yes, we have a mythomania epidemic. Yeah, we don't want to armchair diagnose. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Okay, there we go.
I absolutely am supportive of the measles vaccine, and I do believe vaccines save lives and are an important part of the public health strategy.
Wait a minute.
We've had a tough flu season this year.
Each patient, mother, parent needs to have a conversation with their pediatrician.
would
wanna
you
talk- I wanna
encourage
hear this.
other mothers to have their children vaccinated against measles with the MMR vaccine?
Like you, I'm a physician. I believe vaccines save lives. I believe that vaccines are a key part of of any infectious disease public health strategy. And I would work with you, the CDC, the NIH, ACIP,
But would you encourage
FDA.
mothers to vaccinate their children with the MMR vaccine, seeing how we've had children die in this outbreak in South Carolina?
I'm supportive of vaccination. I do believe that each patient, mother, parent needs to have a conversation with their pediatrician about any medication they're putting in their body or their children's
You're
bodies.
the nation's doctor. Would you encourage her to have her child vaccinated?
I'm not an individual's doctor, and every individual needs to talk to their doctor before putting a medication in their body. I absolutely am supportive of the measles vaccine, and I do believe vaccines save lives and are an important part of the public health strategy.
We've had a tough flu season this year. Would you,
But are you in favor of mass vaccination, which is the only way to achieve true true eradication of disease, ma'am? Are you aware that requiring the polio vaccine was one way to eradicate polio? So notice what she's not saying is, yes, a vaccine regimen is important for all children. Doctors can weigh in on your particular child, but yes, as a rule, vaccine regimens are, but she's not going to because her own bosses just met and said no, that there's too many shots as a child. Okay? So her entire management structure, from Robert, the idiot doctor that's on his whatever his name is, Robert McDonald or something like that, total quack, to RFK, to Marty, to Dr. Oz, foreign asset, you know, from all of those guys, none of them agree with her, or none of them agree with the fact that a vaccine regimen is recommended. Okay? So she just answered the way they want her to answer to, which is probably the way she believes because she's a fucking idiot. And and she literally is saying that, oh, well, I mean, you can talk to your doctor about a vaccine, but I'm not going to say that vaccines on a mass vaccination program is valuable. But indeed, the mass vaccination is the way you eradicate disease. Sorry, that's actual science. I don't know what Casey learned at Stanford. I went to Stanford too. So I'm not saying, Stanford doesn't necessarily mean you're the best. Trust me, okay? It just doesn't. There's plenty of stupid, dumb people at Stanford. I can personally guarantee. So anyway, I don't get this. I don't get this. Thank you, Meowing Star. There is a growing evidence that the total burden of current extreme and growing vaccine schedule is causing health declines in vulnerable children. This needs to be investigated. God, she's such a cunt.
as past surgeon generals have,
God.
encourage Americans
This
to get
guy's also a
vaccinated with the
cunt.
flu vaccine?
At the risk of sounding repetitive, I do think it's very important as a physician and to rebuild trust in public health to make sure that patients are encouraged to have informed consent with their doctor before getting any medication. I believe vaccines save lives. I believe they're an important part of public health. I also do not want to not encourage patients to have a conversation with their doctor. I think it's incredibly important, and informed consent is going to be part of building trust in public health.
We've had an outbreak of whooping cough in Louisiana, vaccine preventable disease.
Who's
Children have
the
actually died
active
from it.
military
Think
idiot
about it,
behind
a
her?
child about the age of your child dying from a vaccine preventable disease. And some have been scared to vaccinate their children because they've been told incorrectly that vaccines cause autism. Do you believe that vaccines, whether individually or collectively, contribute to autism?
Senator Cassidy, you're a physician, I'm a physician. The reality is that we have an autism crisis that's increasing, and this is devastating to many families, and we do not know, as a medical community, what causes autism. The administration has just committed a huge amount of funding to look at the exposome of all environmental factors that could be contributing to autism, And until we have a clear understanding of why kids are developing this at higher rates, I think we should not leave any stones unturned.
There's been a lot of evidence showing that they're not implicated. Do you not accept that evidence?
I do accept that evidence. I also think that science is never settled, and I think that the effort to look at comprehensive cumulative exposures of our exposome into what is causing autism is important, and I look forward to seeing those results and sharing the best public health information with the American people.
Well, I got through 5 out of my 7, so thank you for cooperating.
There's not a higher incidence of autism. So right there, I mean, she's disqualified because she's just not a doctor. Okay, I'm sorry. She's a fucking health influencer and she writes books. Okay, they are not developing autism at a higher rate. Exactly. Diagnostic criteria was broadened. 30 years ago? Yeah, this is such a dumb fucking conversation. I understand. I know why she's doing it. I know why she's saying what she's saying. I'm saying she's wrong. And the fact that a doctor would sit there and say, oh, Admiral Brian Christine, okay. Oh, the Assistant Secretary of Health, okay. Oh, it's her boss. Oh, okay. I mean, then, yeah, she's in the I would rather my child be dead than autistic. Yeah. So that's the thing. It's just that we've expanded the criteria for diagnosis and understood more about autism over the years. Okay. That's why. And yeah, we should look at but at the same time, autism is also not necessarily, it doesn't have to be debilitating, right? There are such a wide range of expressions of autism, and not all are debilitating. Some of them, sometimes we are the ones who don't understand how to work with. It is a natural part of human variation. Thank you. That's a much better way of saying what I was trying to say, Meowing Star. Thank you. I wasn't being very elegant about it. But I don't think autism is a disease. Autism isn't a disease. It's not a deficiency. I think it's a difference. And that's why, I want any family who wants to get care for themselves, right? I want any family who's experiencing, a difficult time. I want them to be able to access the assistance they need for their child to be happy and healthy and well cared for. Right? I want children to have opportunities. I want that to be recognized as part of our beautiful makeup as people. Right? And to me, it's not a disease. There's not a negative connotation with autism. I just simply sit with families, like if your family is experiencing, and maybe you have a nonverbal child and it's very challenging, I empathize with that. So let's make sure that those families have access to all the services that they need in order for their child to thrive and be happy. Okay, that's the answer. It's not, wow, we really have to figure out why more kids have autism. No. Why are you classifying a very large segment and growing segment of the population that are experiencing these diagnoses and understanding more about how their brain works and everything, right? How their whatever system, I don't know what system that is. So, that's what I want a doctor. Obviously I want a doctor who's very smart about medicine, but I want someone who also approaches it from that standpoint. I don't know why we're allowing so much negative energy to be placed on autism. I just don't see it as a detriment. I certainly understand families that might struggle again with nonverbal or other situations, but I want them to get the support that they need in order to be happy. Yeah, I know it's eugenics. I know, but these people are not the cream of the crop. We have to find the cause for this scourge of left-handedness. We have to change their diet to prevent them from. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? Sinister, yeah, also means left, yeah. No, I remember that. So, I don't know. I just I don't know why we. I have a whole problem with the premise of the argument. I guess. Duh.
Senator Sanders.
Thank you. And like the chairman, I've got a lot of questions in a short period of time. I enjoyed your opening remarks, and I think you're right. This is a country that is sick in many ways. We need to focus on disease prevention rather than spending a huge amount of money on tertiary care. And I've enjoyed and appreciated some of the remarks you have made in the past. So let me just see if we're on the same page here. When I was sitting where Senator Cassidy is now, I fought hard to have much more substantive labeling on junk food. In fact, it's my view that we should not have food manufacturers selling junk TV ads. My understanding is you have come out against junk food ads on television. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you just take 30 seconds to elaborate that? Would you use your position to ban junk food TV ads?
Thank you so much, Senator Sanders. And I agree with you completely. I think there is so much that we agree on these issues. Just to be clear, the Surgeon General's office does not have the purview to ban this.
But you have a voice.
Absolutely, and that's a voice I would absolutely lend to talking about the dangers of ultra-processed
Yeah, that was
foods
war
and
number
getting
5,
these
right?
advertisements off
The
TV. This has
Tylenol
long been a
autism
part of my
war.
message. I talk about it in my book. And
Senator Marshall mentioned earlier ago the crisis we have in obesity, childhood obesity. And you have these manufacturers selling sugar-laden products that cause obesity.
Yes.
So you will speak out, and do I understand your view is you would fight to ban TV ads of junk food?
I think you will be frustrated by how much I will be talking about ultra-processed foods.
Good. I won't be frustrated. I'd be delighted. All right, let me ask you another area that we may have some agreement. As you know, the United States and New Zealand are the only two countries in the world that allow the pharmaceutical industry to advertise on TV. I believe we should ban those ads. How do you feel?
I agree with you.
Okay.
I mean, just to elaborate, as you know, but for anyone who might be listening, about 65 to 70% of the calories that our children are eating are ultra-processed frankenfoods made in factories that are so disconnected from their origin, source, and nutritional value that, we're putting just nutritionally devoid food in our children. And then we wonder why we have an obesity crisis in children and why chronic diseases are rising as early as
No, you're right.
toddler years. So
No, that's right.
my vision in this role is to get more whole, healthy foods on American plates.
And we spend a fortune.
A fortune.
We make people sick, and then we spend a fortune trying to keep them alive. All right, those are important areas of agreement, and I appreciate that. But I want to pick up on an issue that the chairman raised, and it's a terribly important one, and that deals with vaccines. And I think the answers you gave us were a little bit political and not to the point. The American Medical Association, I don't know if you're a member of it or not, is the largest professional association of physicians representing over 270,000 doctors. And they wrote in November that, quote, an abundance of evidence from decades of scientific studies shows no link between vaccines and autism, end quote. In contrast, Secretary Kennedy has said, quote, I do believe that autism does come from vaccines, end of quote. Dr. Means, who is right? Is the AMA right? Is the scientific community right? Or is Secretary Kennedy right?
As I said to Senator Cassidy, we have a situation where autism is rising.
It is.
This is a huge problem.
It is, but we don't want conspiracy theories to
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. And also, as a biomedical researcher and physician, I am not going to sit here and say that we should not study something in the future. It's not a political answer.
We should study everything.
We should study the different factors that may be causing the
I
autism.
agree, but you have scientific evidence, the overwhelming body of scientific evidence says vaccines do not cause autism.
I'm not, so just to be very clear, vaccine advocacy has never, or any anti-vaccine rhetoric has never been a part of my message. I don't mention the word vaccine in my book. This is not a part of my core message. I am not here to complicate the issue on vaccines. And also, I, as a physician, am very careful with my words, and I don't think it's responsible to say that we're not
don't
going
put
to
me
study
in a corner, okay?
when kids are getting many medications.
All right.
I think it's important to just keep it on the table.
Last
But you
question.
can't
I'm
just
sorry,
keep
we're
it on
running
the
out of time.
table.
We are the only major country on earth that does not guarantee health care to all people as a human right. Dr. Means, is health care a human right? Should the United States join every other major country and say to everybody, whether you're young, old, rich, or poor, you are entitled to health care as a human right? Yes, no, maybe?
My focus is on ensuring that Americans have access to the best health care in the entire world, which, as you talked about, as I talked about, as everyone who's spoken is talking about, is pretty much the opposite of what we have right now. We spend 2x every other country in the world, and we have the worst
I
outcomes.
agree, but
That
is health care a human right? Will you join me in fighting for a national health care program?
I will be by your side trying to get Americans access to the best health care in the world.
Thank you very much.
Senator Mullen.
That was dumb. Oh, look, she's got a little thing with Mark Wayne. Are they
Thank you,
fucking?
Chairman. My green light was on. I thought my mic was
Are
on.
they fucking?
I want to address a couple things. During the ranking member's opening statement, he talked about misinformation coming from this administration, and I just want to point out that the Biden Surgeon General, Dr. Murthy, was actually, a court actually ruled against him in 2023, the Fifth Circuit Court, for trying to censor free speech on social media. That's misinformation. And so for us just to throw out an accusation like that with no evidence,
God.
when the ranking member was completely
Sorry.
silent when that took place, broken system.
Sorry.
Anyways.
Sorry. Sorry.
No, it's not general. I'm very careful with my words, and when
Which contradicts that
Oh,
evidence.
sorry.
frankly, having practiced, I've seen thousands of patients, worked in this system for almost a decade in clinical medicine, it's not the focus of what we as doctors are incentivized to spend our time on. It's not what's reimbursed, and this is a problem. Medical education doesn't focus on these modifiable. Amazing emerging work
Associated
in systems
Press is having
biology
a
and
hard
network
time with their
biology, that
broadcast.
the physiologic causes of the vast majority of diseases that are taking American lives and torturing and shortening our lives, even in our children, are connected by shared physiology and shared root causes. We need to upgrade the paradigm of the American healthcare system to educate and treat in that way. It is by far the most efficient way to treat, of course, because if we're addressing shared root causes, we're going to be able to stop the whack-a-mole medicine that's not working for us and that is so costly. And so my passion is to help work with the AMA, work with medical schools, work with Democrats, Republicans, all sorts of agencies across the government to ensure that we really move the needle on shifting the American healthcare system towards root causes. I know we can do it. There's political will. It's what Americans want. Even the medical schools are on board, but we need a vision to get there.
Thank you.
Why is it a choice between, because what she's presenting it as, and I'm reading into it, but why does it feel like she's saying either you address root cause or you address the symptoms? Like I feel like they don't want to address the symptoms. And I get it. I don't know why, because these people have just as many health problems as we do. I'm sorry. She's going to have just as many health problems as me. So, the thing is like, I don't understand why they're demonizing a treating of symptoms. And when it comes to root cause, they're not going to do what they need in order to address the root cause, because they're not going to make sure that every community has access through the government to healthy foods. They're not going to mandate healthy foods in schools. They're not going to do any of that. You understand that? They're not doing it, and they're not going to do it. They just disbanded the Department of Education. So there's no one to tell the schools to offer a healthy food program. Oh, and by the way, tried to do that at my school, and it's cost prohibitive and logistics prohibitive. So there's tons of barriers to schools contracting with healthy food vendors. I can tell you firsthand that I've tried to do it. So I don't love this kind of like demonizing of treatment over some boondoggle, root cause when you're not addressing the root cause, which is the mental health of families, access to healthy foods, food deserts, like you're not addressing any of that. Or you're going to say that you're going to do it, but you're not going to do fuck all. Okay? Fuck all. So this is so disingenuous. It's just so stupid. And she's stupid. She's not a fucking doctor. She hasn't been a doctor for 3 years. And she didn't even finish her fucking grad program, okay? She dropped out and she's been writing books about how fat people are. And that if only you weren't so fat, then maybe everything would be fine. Fuck this. She's a trad wife bitch. Useless. And she's answering so terribly because she's basically giving up the game, that she's just saying whatever she needs to say to actually get the job at what she thinks she needs to say. That's how stupid she is. I wouldn't hire her for the fucking dental clinic down the road, okay? I don't want her in my doctor's office. I don't want her anywhere near my children. And why do you want to work for a credibly alleged child rapist, ma'am? That's my question. Anybody going to ask that? Are those really meta glasses? What a fucking nerd that guy is. Fuck off.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Dime
Thank
store
Dr. Means for
Matthew
being here.
McConaughey.
Let me start with this. You called birth control pills, and I'm going to quote, a disrespect of life. And you said Americans, quote, use birth control pills like candy. You also claimed, contrary to established science, that hormonal birth control has, quote, horrifying health risks for women. Now, here are the facts. There are 18 FDA-approved contraceptive methods, both hormonal and non-hormonal, and there are decades of evidence showing that every one of these birth control methods is safe and effective. So I wanted to ask you, help me understand, should women trust the FDA, which approved all 18 methods of birth control after a very rigorous look at the evidence, or should they trust your statement that there are horrifying health risks to birth control, which contradicts that evidence?
Thank you, Senator Murray, for your question. I'm curious if you're aware of what the side effects of hormonal contraception are.
I'm curious if you are with the FDA that went through all of these and rigorously looked at them, or as Surgeon General, if you're going to tell the truth to the American people.
I absolutely believe these medications should be accessible to all women. And also, all medications have risks and benefits, and in our current medical climate, with the burden on doctors, doctors do not have enough time for thorough informed consent conversations. Some of the horrifying side effects of birth control that I have mentioned include blood clots and stroke risk in women who have clotting disorders, who are smokers,
So
who
it's
have
a
obesity.
general?
No, it's not general. I'm very careful with my words, and when I say those comments, which are taken out of context, I'm speaking about particular women that can be hurt if there is not informed consent about their medical history, their lifestyle exposures, and their family history. I want those women, and I know you do too, to be able to have a thorough conversation with their doctor and
there
know
fucking
whether they are
is.
higher
Otherwise-
risk for
oh
side
my
effects
God.
when prescribed the
Saying
medication.
that is one thing, but saying
There is, okay? Because the evidence is that the vast majority of women clearly are having that conversation of informed consent with their physician, because we don't have mass deaths and blood clots because of a fucking pill. Do you understand? Do you understand? The reason we don't have mass deaths from using the birth control pill for multiple decades, like 50 years, or I don't even know when the pill was invented, but I think it was in the 50s or the 60s or something like that. I'm going to tell you right now, the reason we don't have people dying is because they're having that conversation, Casey, and what you're doing is trying to scare the public into something that's not happening. It's not happening. This is really disgusting. She's worse than I thought she was. Oh my God, she's evil. my God. I am floored by this fucking regime. I'll tell you.
Different shows that birth control pills are a disrespect of life is very different.
I am passionate about women's health, and I think it is
Saying that
disrespectful
people use
to
birth
women.
controls like candy is very different than what you just said.
We prescribe a huge amount of hormonal contraceptive, and I do not believe most of those conversations have informed consent because of the pressures that doctors are under because of our broken healthcare system. I want what's best for women, as do you, and I want every woman who could be at risk
I just
for a
have
side
2
effect
minutes left, and I have other
to
questions.
know
Let me move on. Thank
if
you.
a woman died from a
Dr.
stroke or a
Means?
blood clot.
Patty, fucking say it. Say that nobody has. The evidence says no. That's what you say, Patty. Fucking shut this cunt down. Just fucking say it. Fucking say it. The fucking evidence means that those fucking contraceptives are safe. She's trying to scare you. She's not following the evidence. Oh my God.
Because they did not have
Cunt.
a thorough
Thank you for
conversation.
your answer.
Fuck
made
you,
that clear.
cunt.
Let me go to another question.
Fuck you.
Tracy Beth Hogue, she's an anti-vaccine skeptic. She was elevated by the Trump administration to serve as the top drug regulator at FDA. She made comments last week casting doubt on the safety of RSV vaccines for baby. As you sure know, RSV can be deadly even for healthy full-term infants. Do you believe that Dr. Hogue is wrong to question the safety of RSV vaccines?
I have not read that article or seen that quote. I would need to know what she said before I commented on that.
Well, you do know that RSV is the leading cause of hospitalization for infants.
I have a 17-week-old, and I'm very aware of that.
You hear her statement as Surgeon General. Would you contradict it?
I certainly have absolutely no issue having very frank conversations with anyone in the administration if I believe that their statements are misguided in some way or not fully informed. That's not a conversation I would have publicly first. I would have a private and direct conversation with anyone in the administration if I felt that patients were at risk because of.
All right, and I also want to ask you about maternal health. Mental health conditions are the leading cause of maternal death in the U.S., including suicide and overdose deaths. In her comments last week, Dr. Hogue, same woman, also expressed concern about the safety of the antidepressants during pregnancy. Specifically, she called out SSRIs, the most commonly prescribed type. Do you believe that SSRIs are dangerous for pregnant women?
I don't want to be a broken record here, but I do believe that every medication has risks and benefits, and you need to have a nuanced conversation with your doctor before starting a medication. That is, I think, the most responsible position for any doctor to share.
Well, strong evidence has shown that SSRIs are safe in pregnancy. Most do not increase the risk of birth defects.
Certainly.
But untreated depression in pregnancy puts women at risk.
And I agree with you, but I still think a patient, I don't think it's responsible to make a blatant statement for all Americans.
Okay, well, if confirmed as Surgeon General, it will be your job to give accurate
She's
and
not
up-to-date
saying
health
that.
information to
Patty
the
is
American
not
people. I assume
saying
you will take
I will.
responsibility
that they
seriously.
shouldn't have
I
informed
absolutely do,
consent.
and I
This
also
is so
believe that the
dumb.
American people are
Patty,
looking
you
for a
fucking
more
disappoint
nuanced
me today.
conversation about health,
I don't know
and
if you didn't
believe
eat
that
your
that,
Wheaties.
Will help restore trust in public health.
Thank you.
Coach Tupperville.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Means, thanks for being here. Congratulations on expanding your family. And I know it's an exciting time for you. I also want to thank
To help us in a really positive and unifying way move towards a more root cause approach to health.
you think that will be a
Make
hard
some
item
THC
to push
cookies.
in our medical
No, Tommy
schools
Traderville,
about
you're
nutrition?
gonna
I've
swing
had
from
conversations with a number of deans of
gallows
medical
one day
schools
for
who
all
are
the treason
very,
that you've
very
treasoned.
passionate about this issue.
So,
They
fuck
want
him.
to change. It feels hard because we have this behemoth healthcare system that operates a certain way. But right now, there's cultural momentum, there's political will, and I think the time is now to make generational changes that are going to have a huge impact on all Americans. And I also think it's an
That's
issue
right. Why is
that
Trump RX pushing all
of us
these
can work on
drugs?
together? It's non-controversial, it's positive, it's unifying, and I think that's what we need right now.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Americans.
Meowing
It's
Stark.
all about
Can't give a
educating
blanket
people.
statement, but also
And
said women
sometimes
aren't having
people don't wanna
informed
be
consent for
educated,
birth
but I think
control
the
because she
Surgeon General
thinks doctors
and
are pressured.
Whole Department of Health and Human Services I think everybody's on board with that. And if we do that, what Senator Sanders was talking about the $5 trillion a year we spend, we can't afford to do that anymore. I mean, we have to start, and the root cause is education. We have to educate people. Thank you very much.
Senator Baldwin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Dr. Means, for being here today. You spoke in your opening statement about building trust in public health. And you also made, I think, a passing reference to conflicts of interest within agencies in HHS. So I want to ask you a few questions on that point. Dr. Means, you've promoted a lab testing company, Genova Diagnostics, which is backed by private equity and may charge customers several $100s for its services. Before you began promoting their tests on social media, the company agreed to pay $43 million to resolve allegations that it had billed for medically unnecessary lab tests and violated the False Claims Act. You personally accepted $10,000 from this company, and I want to ask you whether you were aware of Genova Diagnostics' prior violations and the settlement when you started promoting their services.
Thank you, Senator Baldwin, and also thank you so much for meeting with me beforehand. I really enjoyed our conversation. Frankly, I was not familiar with that settlement.
So that's
there's a particular test that they make about nutrient quality that I find very compelling, because I do think we need to understand a little bit more transparently about how the nutrients from our food are affecting our health. And I would just highlight that I have worked extremely closely with the Office of Government Ethics over the last several months and taken this process very seriously. I've signed a letter that outlines how to rectify any potential conflicts, and I
know you're going to divest your
absolutely
stocks in all sorts of health-related and non-health-related entities, but it's troubling because the Surgeon General must be someone that the public can trust, and someone who does their homework before accepting money or lending credibility to a company. And for me, this raises questions about your judgment. It does not inspire confidence that you're here to make Americans healthy when you accept money to promote a company who's had to pay a settlement because of violating the False Claims Act. Dr. Means, you have also promoted a range of supplements, including those that claim to promote longevity and detoxification. You made at least $325,000 from promoting supplements since the beginning of 2024, according to information provided to this committee. This includes nearly $135,000 for a so-called longevity supplement and $46,000 for wellness teas and elixirs, both of which can cost upwards of $100 a month for somebody consuming them. Your company, Levels Health, offers continuous glucose monitoring and AI-driven health insights. And a full membership, and I'm not sure what all a full membership involves, but costs $1,500 a year. And that's about a whole month's average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So do you really believe that most Americans can afford to spend upwards of $1,500 a year on your supplements and programs? And is that one of your solutions to our nation's health problems?
Thank you for the question. I certainly don't think every American needs to be wearing a glucose monitor. I think that we have a monumental blood sugar problem in this country that underlies most of the leading causes of death in this country: dementia, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, stroke are all connected by metabolic dysfunction, elevated blood sugar. And my work on using entrepreneurship as a tool to bring and study new tools that can help us understand our blood sugar better, I believe I'm very proud of. And as I mentioned in my opening statement,
Thank you for that statement and those observations. Dr. Means,
And that
You say
research
you
that we've
want
done
to
with the company
address-
is meant to benefit all Americans.
Yeah,
It does
and
not
that's what I
necessarily
want
mean
to
that
tie up in my remaining 12 seconds. Dr. Means, you say you want to address chronic disease, but 1/3 of low-income adults have 2 or more chronic conditions. They need an affordable solution. Groceries are too expensive. Healthcare is too expensive. Health insurance premiums have skyrocketed because of Republicans' refusal to extend the tax credit and cuts to Medicaid. 15 million Americans are losing their health insurance. People cannot afford their prescription drugs. So you've said that our healthcare system is broken, but it seems to me that you've spent your career sort of making money off the flaws in the system, and I'm left wondering how the American people are supposed to trust you to put their health and safety first, not profits.
Those are incorrect characterizations. I appreciate your comments, and I do look forward to working with you and on your priorities. And I absolutely am committed to giving Americans the best public health information possible. And like the comments I made prior, I think some of the movement in our administration towards making healthy food more accessible are going to impact all Americans in a very positive way. And I look forward to helping on that and many other issues that make healthcare accessibility much easier for all Americans.
Senator Husted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Means, thanks for being here today. I'm going to try to get through pesticides and mental health for our children if I could. I want to thank you.
We need to, as parents, communities, schools, and a government, exert an abundance of caution and be very proactive about making sure we're protecting children and their mental health.
I hope you'll spend some time talking about this issue in your
Oh,
role as
have you
Surgeon
spent
General,
any
because
time talking
if you
to
go
the
a school
credibly
that's
alleged
banned
child
smartphones,
rapist
they
that
will
you're
tell
about to
it
work
has a
for?
profound
Have you done that?
influence on
Have you
the mental
have you
health
pondered
and
that?
the
Have you
educational
considered
environment in the
that?
school. So
Have
thank
you meditated on that?
We'll now go to Senator Murphy, and for the awareness of the members, after Senator Murphy, we'll take a 15-minute break for the benefit of Dr. Means, and more importantly, the benefit of her child, and then we'll return 15 minutes, as said.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good
Y'all,
morning,
she's
Dr.
going to whip her
Means.
titties out.
Dr. Means, are you familiar with FTC policy that requires those who are recommending products online to disclose their financial connection to those companies? In particular, the document from the FTC says this: if you endorse a product through social media, your endorsement message should make it obvious when you have a relationship with the brand. Are you familiar with that?
Certainly.
That guidance? As you know, there is a pending complaint regarding your failure to adhere to those guidelines that basically makes the contention, and this committee has verified the data that underlies their complaint, that you routinely violated this policy, and that in fact, in the majority of your posts for many of the products you recommend, you did not transparently reveal your financial connection. Let me give you an example.
That's false.
Well, I'll give you an example. So there's a prenatal vitamin called WeNatal. Your filings before this committee show that you started receiving compensation in the spring of 2024. And yet in September of 2024, you posted a video saying that you had no financial relationship to the company, just a big fan. And then in October, you said, not sponsored, just love these. But in fact, you have documentation before this committee that showed when you said those things, you had a financial relationship. You had already started receiving money from that company. So you weren't telling the truth when you said you were just a fan. You were actually receiving money, correct?
If in any post where I said I am not receiving money, I had not been receiving money at that time.
But you had received partnership fees for this particular prenatal vitamin. In fact, prior to September and October, you had posted partnership links in which you get compensated based upon click-throughs, correct?
I'm happy to look at whatever documentation you're talking about, but I do not, it's incorrect and it's a false representation. And just to be very clear, I've spent the last several months working with the Office of Government Ethics to be fully compliant with this process. I take it very seriously. Before, during, and after, if I am in office, I will be in full compliance with the Office of Government Ethics. I think, as I've talked about, conflicts of interest are incredibly important to rectify if we're in public service, and I am fully committed to continuing to work with them.
So let me give you some other examples. Function Health, which is your lab testing platform, data shows that you disclosed your partnership with them less than a third of the time that you recommended their services online. Genova Diagnostics, you disclosed your sponsorship in only 2 of the 9 times that you promoted Genova. Daily Harvest, you disclosed your sponsorship in only 3 of the 14 posts recommending that product. Zen Basil Seeds, you disclosed your partnership only 2 out of the 13 times that you recommended the product. This seems systemic. It seems that in the majority of instances in which you were, as a medical professional, recommending a product, you were hiding the fact that you had a financial partnership. You seem to be in regular willful violation of the FTC rules. That is concerning as someone who agrees with Senator Cassidy that our focus has to be on restoring trust in the medical profession. And yet over and over again, you seem to be at scale recommending products without telling your followers. And you have 200,000 newsletter subscribers. You have almost 1 million Instagram followers. And in only 3 out of 14 times on Daily Harvest, when you were promoting Daily Harvest, you disclosed that you're getting paid by them?
It sounds like you have a lot to say about this issue, and I would be very interested to see how your staff looked at this data. I have a strong feeling that the way in which they gather this data is done intentionally to
they used
create
a
these
calendar.
claims that you're making.
They used
I
your
have the
financial
back- I have the
filings,
backup here.
and they used
I mean,
your
we
Instagram
acknowledge that
account.
in
You
many-
stupid cunt.
In many instances,
God, what
when
a
you were
liar.
promoting these products,
Terrible liar.
you did not disclose that you had a financial relationship?
I don't think that's true. If it has happened, if it inadvertently has happened, I would rectify that immediately. However, I would be interested to see how your staff gathered this
I'll be
data.
happy to send it to
And
you.
I will conclude by saying
I'll
that
send
I
it to
take
all the committee
conflicts.
members. I mean, it's pretty incontrovertible evidence.
I take conflicts of interest incredibly seriously. I've worked diligently with the Office of Government Ethics to make sure that conflicts are addressed thoroughly.
The committee will stand in recess for 15 minutes.
Thank you.
Right. Apparently you didn't. Okay, bitch? Apparently you didn't. Apparently you didn't resolve shit in all the time you were trying to work with. Okay? Oh my God. No, her voice is terribly annoying. And her lying is even more annoying. And her lack of credibility is even more annoying. But it is par for the course. Yeah, she's got to go whip her titties out and feed her baby, which is great, and I'm all for it. But I get the vibe that this is a real uplifting of the trad rad wife kind of trope, and I'm not here for it, okay? I'm not here for it. Because you know what she would do? She would take away doulas, all right? She would take away support for women and birthing people in low-income communities to get access to lactation coaches, all right? She would limit access to things that actually help people feed their child and make their child have a viable, thriving life. Because she will step in line with the vaccine bullshit. She just said it. And if you didn't understand it, then you don't understand how people use speech to actually tell the truth, but not really just tell the truth, but not make it sound quite so bad, right? She doesn't make it sound so bad when she tells the truth, because she's a fucking influencer and her entire existence is about convincing you to do what she says you should do. And apparently, as evidenced by what we just heard, she has lied and hidden it habitually. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't think that's, I think that's pretty much great evidence of somebody's, like he said, systemic disregard for ethics. And maybe she doesn't understand what ethics are. Maybe they didn't teach her that at Stanford. That's possible. But this is ridiculous. And Bernie Sanders, fuck you. That was the stupidest questioning I've ever heard in my life. And if you get another chance, I hope you do better. The other people, not so great. The last guy, better. Chris Murphy or whatever. I always miss him up with Chris Coons. I can't ever remember who's who, but anyway. Oh my God. I wanted to see if we can jump into, let's see. Well, actually, did they come back? Did they come back? Baby, come back. You can blame it all on me. She sure likes to make lots of blanket statements when it's pseudoscience maha quackery. Yep, exactly. Oh, I just hate it. I hate this timeline. You know what? I voted for the lady who laughed too much. Okay? I voted for the lady who laughed too much. I don't know. I would have rather have fought her on support for Israel. Okay? I would have been up her ass about Israel. But now we have to fight every goddamn front. Like fronts we never even thought we would ever have to question. What's going on? Now we have to question all of those things. And we have to fight all of those things. And it's just like, God damn it. Why? Why did we have to do this? I mean, I guess, you know what? And if it's true that this is the point at which you then are able to move into a more like, you know, family-centric base or people-centric base of government systems and economic systems, the death of capitalism, for example. If this is the time we must go through in order to get to the death of capitalism and the end of robber barons and the end of oligarchs, I am fully in support of it, by the way. But did so many people have to suffer to get us there? Do so many people have to suffer and be scared in order to get there? I was hoping we didn't, but I understand too, if that's historically what, you know, like, but I just wish we could have done the revolution part without all the fascism part. That's what I thought. That's what I hope. But no, we have fucking Dr. Oz. We have fucking Dr. Oz. I don't know why Dr. Phil isn't anywhere. Why hasn't he been hired for anything? I don't even get it. I mean, I would think he would be like someone at the top of the list for something. I don't understand. I'm sorry. I really don't. We just have to get money out of politics. I do hope in the midst of a revolution, I do hope we do things like, and I'm sure we will, but I'm really hopeful that on the list of things to do in the step of revolution is eliminate money from politics, right? Check. Make sure you codify voting rights. Check. You know, like I think that's what I would like to see happen. If we're gonna revolutionize, which I definitely think we should. I'm fully on board with that concept. I don't have an idea of how to do all the stuff, but I also know that I'm not the person to decide what to do, how to do all that stuff. It needs to be younger people that are making those decisions. There's really not that many of them. I know. I understand. There's really, and that's what I thought too, Jane. I thought, you know, I mean, come on. I thought maybe, you know, this is 30% of the country, right, that really feels strongly about this administration. And the rest of people don't. And some of those 30% are actually peeling off because, frankly, they see that they might get shot in the face. And so that was kind of like, oh, well, that gives me pause, you know. And their economy is sucking, and it's becoming much a wider wealth gap. And yeah, so I just think that, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, voting rights, no money in politics, healthcare for all, living wage, CEO pay caps, stock buyback caps, like things that actually need to be institutionalized. And yeah, it's going to feel like communism. I understand. I get it. Ooh, booga booga. Well, I mean, like at the end of the day, there are plenty of countries that have a more socialized system who may not be communist. Whatever the boogeyman for communism is that you have in your head, that's fine. Whatever. That's nice for you. But at the end of the day, we're the ones behind the curve, right? We're the ones that have the means to provide these things and to create an economy that actually works for everyone. But it is going to require, people who have a lot of money, the 1%, paying more outlay of cash into the system, right? So it will have to be that way. So there is a redistribution of wealth. At the same time, again, I don't see why that is so scary. Because at the end of, I don't know how if you are enjoying the fruits of this economy and, sitting pretty, making money, I don't see how you sleep at night knowing that people are in such dire straits, that they carry medical debt, that they make $7 an hour, that most of the people that are working people are not going to be able to write off their tips because they come in cash and not credit card. So, and they don't itemize. I don't itemize. Hi, I love you. They don't itemize. So they're not going to be able to write off the no tax on tips. So I mean, and I think there's a lot of people. I was watching, more of MSNBC and stuff, or MS Now or whatever it is, last night. And I do think there are people in the media like Rachel Maddow and others who are saying, listen, this is like X, Y, and Z. Like, I think there are people saying some good things in mainstream media to that degree, but something's not clicking. Like, something's not clicking that this is absolutely beyond the pale. Yeah. Voting rights. I think it's not fun for them anymore. It's getting messy and spotlight is starting to shine on them more. This is one of the things I've said, Jane. That's a really good point. One of the things I've said about the MAGA kind of media machine is that their ass wrote a lot of checks, or no, their mouth wrote a lot of checks that their asses cannot cash, right? They have not been able to overturn the 2020 election, no matter how much they've tried. They have fucked up the whole Epstein file release in a way that they didn't anticipate was actually going to happen for whatever reason. They thought it was going to be all Bill Clinton all the time. Well, it turns out it's not. And it turns out it just makes them look like they're hiding something. So it's not even doing them any favors. Oh, and the economy? Well, that's about to bite you in the ass because we, as I've said, are in the midst of a growing K-shaped economy where the rich get exponentially richer and the middle and lower income levels get exponentially poorer. And he will, this regime, not him, because he's nothing, he's a skin bag in front of the regime. This regime will tell you over and over and over again that prices are coming down when you know economy. So even if the Dow hits 70,000, yeah, for the 401, maybe for the 401k holders, I don't know. It depends on what you hold. Because what you're talking about, the Dow is 30 stocks. It's 30 stocks. So it's not even a guarantee that your portfolio raises at the same level. This is not the way it works. I watched Jennifer Welch and Angie Pumps on Francesca Florentini's show yesterday, and those three really spoke to what we're talking about. Oh, wonderful. Thanks, Meowing. I mean, I don't know. Ooh, did he kiss her? Wait, is that her husband? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is that her husband? Did you guys see that? Hold on, here. Watch this.
Thank you for everybody being back. Senator Marshall defers to Senator Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Dr. Means. Addiction and drug overdoses are a major problem, remains a huge problem in this country. And this didn't happen in
You're
your
a huge
teen
problem in
years.
this country.
According to your book, in 2021, you began using illicit psychedelic mushrooms. So my questions to you are twofold. One, do you stand by what you said in your book, encouraging people to try psychedelics? And second, as Surgeon General, should you be confirmed, how would you speak to the American people about
I'm sorry, I thought I was unmuted. That's leather on leather. She's wearing leather on leather. Susan Collins did not come to play today. She's in her leather dominatrix era. You guys, she's wearing a leather, at least shirt. It might be a dress. Can you imagine wearing a leather dress? Like, there's something really strange about that sensation. I'm sorry. Unless you're going to the club, kind of thing. Wow. Susan, spicy.
the use
Spicy
of illicit
Susan.
drugs?
Thank you so much, Senator Collins. And I also thank you sincerely for engaging so deeply with my work and learning about me. This is a very important question. And I would start by just saying that I believe what I would say as a private citizen is in many cases different than what I would say as a public health official. Joining a team where the purpose of this role is to communicate absolutely the best evidence-based science to the American people to keep them safe, thriving, and healthy. And when it comes to psychedelic therapy for mental health issues, I think the science is still emerging. And so it would certainly not be a recommendation to the American people to do that under no circumstances. I do believe that there is exciting work being done in this area that needs to continue on psychedelic therapies for PTSD and veterans, for mental health issues. And some of the researchers who are doing this work have said it's some of the most promising and exciting of their entire careers. So I look forward to following that, but to be very clear, under no circumstances would I recommend that to the American people in this role. Our illicit drug use problem in our country is monumental and severe, and I look forward to working with you on these issues that are so important.
What did you mean by saying that you heard an internal voice whispering to you saying it's time to prepare?
Yeah, in that passage of the book, I'm referring to my mother's passing, which happened. She got a diagnosis of pancreatic cancer about a week after that experience. And in my meditations and prayers at that time, I was having a deep sense that something ominous was coming. And so that's what that's referring to. I think when I speak of spirituality, and I do believe Americans are ready to hear about spirituality as it pertains to medicine.
Do you worship
80%
the
of
devil,
Americans are spiritual or religious.
Susan?
There's amazing evidence coming out of Columbia
Casey?
University, the lab of Dr. Lisa
you-
Miller, that
I
spirituality
want to
has
still know why her
large
boss
impact on
kissed her
health
on the
outcomes.
head. Okay,
And
I'm
so
stuck
certainly
on
that's
that.
a personal anecdote. But
I took the drugs, and the drugs are working.
The
drugs are working. I took the drugs, and the drugs are working.
To sharing
The
only
drugs
the
are
best
working.
solid science with Americans on how to be healthy.
Yeah, but you know what? Everyone should drop a bunch of shrooms.
I understand
I'll do shrooms with you
totally
later on,
what
Susan.
you're saying about spirituality, and I'm sorry about the loss of your mother. It's the link to illicit drugs that I'm having a hard time with. But I have very little time left, so
they're legal
I
here,
want to
Susan.
go to another issue. And that is in the staff interview when you were talking about wasteful spending, you referred specifically to money that NIH spent on Alzheimer's research that, quote, proved to be fraudulent. And you were referring to the amyloid plaque research replication issue that was discussed in the New York Times.
Does she believe in stem cell
That story,
research?
however, has
I wanna
been
know that.
largely debunked and countered. So I just want to make sure that I know for certain whether you are for vigorous research on looking at a wide variety of factors when it comes to Alzheimer's disease and other dementias.
Unquestionably, full-throatedly, yes. This is one of the most devastating diseases facing Americans today. It's one that I'm very passionate about, particularly in light of research showing that early onset Alzheimer's dementia in as early as the 50s is starting to rise at a significant rate. I believe that we need to be studying,
Do you think
like
it's
you
vaccines?
said, all the different medical, genetic, lifestyle, environmental factors that can be contributing to this. And when I look at the research that, some of the research that I'm very excited to elevate in the conversation, if I'm confirmed, I'd point to the Lancet study from 2024
Seriously.
about the modifiable risk factors for Alzheimer's dementia, which I'm sure you're familiar
Hi,
with,
Grace,
which
Lisa.
showed that with 14 modifiable factors, we could reduce 45% of Alzheimer's dementia cases. This is incredible. This isn't really the type of research that we've been hearing from the medical community. We hear a lot about drugs. We hear a lot about interventions that slow decline once we're sick. But that's
Is
the
she
type
just
of research,
quoting
like
some
from the
quack
Lancet,
medicine?
major medical journal, that I really look forward to elevating and supporting further research like that can really help Americans be empowered to prevent this disease when we can.
Thank you.
Senator Kim.
Thank you,
What?
Chairman. Thank you for coming out.
I
Congratulations
torrent all
on
of
the-
my
the
TV
new
shows,
baby.
but my mom's
I wanted to just
at my
ask you
mom's
about
house,
the
I
role
can't
of the
even
Surgeon
believe how
General
every other
and the
commercial
different
for
aspects of it. So
pharmaceutical. I know.
one of it is about issuing public health advisories. Is that correct?
Yes.
I wanted to just ask, are you currently able to write prescriptions for patients?
I have not been seeing patients over the last several years, and so I currently, with the status of my license that I voluntarily put on an active status, which I'm sure what you're getting at, cannot prescribe a prescription right now. However, if I were to work with the Oregon Medical Board to reinstate that, it's very possible to do. And
Is that something
you're
something you're planning to do?
I'm not planning on prescribing prescriptions
No, I mean,
to Americans.
but are you planning to reactivate your license?
My path in medicine, I spent 4 years doing surgeries and seeing patients in clinics, and that one-to-one medicine, it's valuable, but my path took me down a different road to have a one-to-many approach to affect the root cause of why we're sick in America. And I've had a very
So
successful.
you're saying you're not going to pursue reactivating your medical license in taking this job. Is that correct?
I do not plan to reactivate because I'm not going to be seeing patients in this role.
So
it would not make sense to do that. In fact, for physicians, if I could just clarify, because this has been a point of severe misinformation from the media.
What about
for any
continuing
doctor
education?
in a state where you are required to put your license on inactives if you're not seeing patients? I would imagine that many physicians in public health service who aren't seeing patients would have to put their license on inactive status because they are not seeing patients unless they choose to continue to do so while in office.
you
So
want
another
to
important role here, I
have
just want to kind of
continuous
clarify, because
learning?
you're saying, you're not currently able to practice medicine. You're not currently able to write prescriptions because you're saying you're not going to be seeing patients in this job.
And I do have a medical
Another big
license
role,
right
another
now.
big role of the work that you're doing is to be a leader of the Commission Corps. Is that correct? So I guess I wanted to just dive into this because, with the Commission Corps, it's saying as a Commission Corps officer of the U.S. Public Health Services, keeping professional licensure and certification up to date is mandatory. So I guess I just wanted to get a sense of how you're squaring this here.
Well, I do have a medical license right now. It is voluntarily placed on inactive status because I'm not actively seeing patients at this time. The HHS and Admiral Brian Christine have testified in front of this committee that I am eligible to serve as the medical director of the HHS.
But how does that square?
you on the head?
It says keeping a professional licensure and certification up to date is mandatory. Is yours up to date?
I have an I have a medical license that is unexpired right now. Admiral Christine has testified that I'm eligible to serve in this role. I'm the president's
the guy that
nominee for
kissed you
Surgeon
on the
General,
head?
and further questions about that will have to go to
So
Is that the guy that
if
kissed
we
you
were
on
to
the head?
expand that, would you say that,
Hi,
like,
peace, love.
with the others in the Commission Corps, do you think we should remove the mandatory licensure for them to be able to participate in the Corps?
That's not a question that I've considered. I don't think it's actually relevant to this particular hearing.
don't
It's
think so?
relevant
You don't
insofar as
decide
I'm
what's
just trying to
relevant,
think
cunt.
through, if you're in this job, how are you going to be proceeding? And what
I would
kind of
never
advice
make a
you're going
good
to be able to give to the
congressperson,
American
'cause I'd call people cunts.
and the credibility that they will have in understanding what your advice is. Also, in terms of, if you are a leader of the Commission Corps, I'm trying to get a sense, are you going to deprioritize having an active license in the same way that you believe that you can do the job of a Surgeon General without having an active license? Do you believe that that is the case for others in the Commission Corps, that they can do their job without having an active license?
Senator Kim, I'm a medical doctor.
She is
I graduated from
mad.
Stanford University School of Medicine. I have a medical license. My professional history is a feature.
He's
It's
asking
not
you a
bug.
question. You're not
I have had
answering
a
the
unique
question.
history that has merged entrepreneurship,
This is the nomination
public
hearing
health
for Surgeon
advocacy,
General. This is a
faculty,
wellness
course
guru.
direction at Stanford University, as well as being an editor of a medical
I don't
journal and a
discount that. I
biomedical
just-
researcher. And in these complex times for American healthcare, that type of multidisciplinary history is going to be extremely valuable to the
Stop
American
it.
people.
I don't
Stop
discount
her.
your accomplishments and your education. But what I'm trying to get a sense of here is your ability to be able to engage with our current medical professionals, to show respect to.
I practiced medicine. I owned my own medical practice, and I've seen thousands of patients, and I did over 4 years of surgical training, which is more than many of our past Surgeon Generals completed who did medical specialties. I have completed extremely thorough medical training, and I have the
Trust
ability
me.
through these
Trust
experiences
me.
to communicate excellent
me.
public health
I haven't kept my
information, and I
education
really
up
look
'cause
forward
I've
to
been
working
too
with the Commission
busy
Corps.
making
This is an
money.
incredible group of people, 5,000 uniformed officers who are committing their lives to helping the American people. And personally, just to share a little bit of a
I
vision
agree with
for
that.
vision
Vision
for
for
No,
that.
no,
that is
stop.
being sent
Stop.
is one that I think we have to look at. And with that, I'll yield.
What the fuck, cunt?
Could I?
Yes, ma'am.
No, you can't do anything.
This incredible group of officers has traditionally been deployed for public health emergencies like natural disasters and infectious disease. And I think there's a huge opportunity to actually work with these members who are interested in approaching the chronic disease epidemic, which has not traditionally been part of their role. And I think that bringing that perspective and the demonstrated history of work in this area is actually going to be a really positive development for the Commission
Yeah,
Corps.
you think? Well, nobody gives a shit what you
Dr.
think.
Means, I should have said this earlier. Is your family behind you?
Yes,
Would you please introduce?
I'd be happy to. This is my stepmom, Kathy, my dad, Grady, my incredible better half and husband, Brian Nickerson, my best friend of 20 years, Fiona Biles, my sister-in-law, Leslie Voorhees, and somewhere in here is my brother, Callie. And also my cousin, Fleet White, and his wife. For this role is
Fleet White.
first and
What's a
foremost
Fleet
to
White?
help nudge, push,
What's a
inspire
Fleet
our
White? Is that a
healthcare
name?
system towards focusing on root causes and the reasons why we're getting sick, moving towards a real healthcare system and not just a reactive sick care system.
Yeah, fuck sick
Which is,
people.
of
They're
course,
so
also gonna lower
boring.
costs monumentally and
Sick
unburden,
people
I
are
think,
boring
American taxpayers
AF.
and doctors.
I think people
want
should just
to
not be
see
poor
affordable,
or sick.
accessible, real, nutritious food
Just
for
don't
all
be
Americans
sick.
because we know that nutrition and food is one of the key, most important drivers of chronic illness or of health. And we're not eating real food. We're eating 70%
wearing meta
ultra-processed
glasses?
food
Now
right
I'm
now. And there are
obsessed.
structural barriers to making that possible that good policy
It's
and
Matthew
reform in
It's the
healthcare
Timu
system
Matthew
can fix. And I
McConaughey.
believe there's political will and cultural momentum to do so. And I look forward to being a leader in that.
Oh my God!
And I would
seriously?
say lastly,
I heard Voorhees
a key
too.
passion of mine is to understand how the cumulative
looks like a
burden
royal.
of the exposures
like
we
one of
have
the
in our
royal family.
environment across food, water,
I mean,
air,
Casey, you have nice hair. I'm gonna
soil,
give you
the
that. You
products
got
we're
great
putting in and
hair.
on our bodies, how these are affecting our
About the
health.
only
We
thing I
know
can
that
say about
these
you.
diseases are going up rapidly, and of course, genetics have not changed over the past 20, 30, 40, 50 years. It's environmental exposures that are making us sick, and we have not prioritized studying that. And the NIH and the MAHA movement is focused on looking at this, and I think this is going to be a rapid accelerant of understanding why we're sick and how to heal.
Great, thank you.
Was really trying to move
You
forward.
and I are both concerned about the mental health epidemic, but especially in our youth.
Oh, are you?
I'm not expecting you.
Why then do you support a credibly alleged child rapist? I'm having a very hard time, sir. Can you help me understand? Make it make sense, as the kids would say. Alex Jones told me my whole practice is being changed by the narrative agendas. Ooh. Ask her about the renewal of glyphosate interest. Oh, I hope someone does. Genetics. You know, that's the thing. Like, what? She's just so, her sister-in-law, oh wait, sorry. I lost my train of thought for a minute. Okay. I want to jump ahead. That's why I'm hesitating.
Great work on this and getting
good.
really
We
the
got a
message
little
out
bit.
there into culture of the problems.
Can they ask real
and
questions?
I am committed to working with you and
I mean, I think
truly
I
anyone
understand
within
what
the
she's
medical
all about. I'll be
establishment,
honest with you,
the
because
tech
she's going to
world
do what they
and,
want her to do.
the
She just
government
got
to make
kissed
sure
on
that
the
we're
head by
protecting
her
children
boss.
from
Why is no one
harms of
else
social
noticing
media
that?
And of excess screen
Why,
use. You
why
know,
am
when
I
we
the
think
only one
about,
that noticed that?
the world we want to see for our children. I think all of us know that we want to see our children outdoors, feeling safe, playing in the sunshine, joyful, interacting with other children, thriving, playing. And that's the world that I vision for my child and for all American children. And I think part of getting to that vision is making sure that we're being very judicious about how we address digital technology use, and of course making sure that children are prepared, to use
Too much
technology
screen
thoughtfully
time. They
and
play too much
responsibly, but
GTA.
making sure that
I'm going to turn her
when there's
down for a
evidence
minute.
showing, which I believe there is, that social media and premature use of these programs is hurting their mental health, that we take action on it.
Thanks. Let's talk about nutrition for a second through your eyes. I think we all acknowledge that America needs to eat better, but not everyone can afford to go to Whole Foods.
Right.
Carbohydrates are cheap. Processed foods are somewhat, typically cheaper. But how do we help the masses?
This is the most important question, because obviously if it's not the easiest and the most accessible choice, it's not going to be sustainable for all Americans, which is what we need. This is why I'm so supportive of some of these systemic changes that are happening. So the Dietary Guidelines for America, like I mentioned, just by changing that and calling out no more ultra-processed foods full-throatedly, which is what they did.
What?
This is going to
Did
feed
they?
into billions and billions of meals per year. of changing
You're claiming that people really give a flying fuck what's on the food pyramid? Are you kidding me? She doesn't have any original thoughts, you guys. This woman is a rubber stamp. That's all she is. This is another licensing deal for her. That's what this is. This is a guaranteed big book tour. Oh boy, her books, the books that come out after her being Surgeon General, forget about it. She can't wait to publish those books. But at the end of the day, she's not going to do anything about your food quality, because guess what? None of the food providers are going to do fuck all if this administration says you have to remove the processed foods from your line. Are you kidding me? How stupid is that? How stupid is that? What power does this administration have over any private corporation, especially foreign corporations, that provide foods to the American people? That's a really nice idea, but you don't have any power. And furthermore, you're not going to exercise that power even if you did have it, because those are your fucking donors. You're not going to shut out major corporations like, I don't know, name a company that creates like Kraft or Nabisco or whatever. You're not going to shut them out of the market because they don't change their food composition. This is stupid. All they can do is say, oh, you should eat more meat. That's what they're saying. That's literally what I got from the change in the pyramid was, oh, you should eat more meat, which is dumb. So they're not going to be able to do fuck all to make any corporation. And you know what? Corporations will tell them whatever they want to hear, right? Corporations will say, yeah, sure, we're going to use real sugar in that. All they have to do is say that. Okay, so none of this makes any difference. And furthermore, what's even more disappointing is this cunt doesn't even have any original ideas. She is literally a rubber stamp. That is all that this cunt is. Oh my God.
Towards local, organic, whole foods for kids, military.
And what are you going to do about food deserts? What are you actually going to do? Are you going to start urban gardens as part of your program? Are you going to well, not even Jill Stein. I don't even think this woman has any intellectual capacity whatsoever. Sorry, I don't. I think she is a fucking influencer. And she's just like all those women who write books and say, hey, y'all, stop crying. Don't apologize. You don't have to apologize for being a boss bitch. You know, fuck them. Those are cults. I know. I was in it for about a minute after I had my nervous breakdown. I got into this kind of like meditating and oracles and all this nonsense. And then I shook myself awake and went, this is dumb. So I know what it's like to kind of fall into this, but I was like, this is the dumbest thing I'm ever spending my time on. And so this bitch is just like all those other bitches, right? Who end up with tours and, you know, books and merch and supplements and all the rest and all the kitchens. She's got a kitchen stuff in her websites. She's got multiple websites. So this cunt is just a product. She's a fucking commodity. She has nothing. She has zero substance. She doesn't even know the answers to the questions. She doesn't even know what the answers are for communities from a public health standpoint, which is exactly what her job is to help guide the nation in terms of what are good practices, what are good, you know, she could push the industries to create, to eliminate food deserts and create urban gardens and other things inside of communities that don't have access to fresh food. But she can't make people lower their prices. She can't increase wages. She can't make it so that parents don't have to work 2 and 3 jobs. So it's virtually impossible for them to create food, you know, organic food for their family. Okay? You think that parents don't want their children to have healthy food? You think those parents don't want to have to sit in an emergency room with their kid because of whatever happened to them or their lack of nutrition? Really? You really think that parents want to do that? They don't. But what you're not willing to do, lady, is the hard work of actually working with communities to help build up the resilience and eliminate food deserts. If you just said to me, I'm going to eliminate food deserts, like that is my raison d'etre, I'm going to do it. That would be an amazing, like that would show me that she has something more substantive to offer, but she doesn't. She's going to go along with whatever corporate daddy, who happens to be a credibly alleged pedophile, she's going to go along with whatever that guy wants. But I don't know. The reason she keeps cycling back to mitochondrial health is keto. Yeah. Keto-led meat diet lifestyle change to cure schizophrenia, autism, etc. She and RFK keep repeating those talking points. Yep. Yeah, which is not real. Yeah, that's not real health. That's quackery. We call that quackery. Anyway.
Prisons, hospitals,
Let's see if we
organizations
can
that are
jump
getting
ahead.
federal dollars. So that's going to make billions of meals more accessible for people through federal dollars.
Actually.
Additionally, I am a strong-willed person who has
Oh, sorry. My fan is really loud. My fan is really loud. My fan's really loud. Let's listen to... I can't remember her name. God, I'm always forgetting this woman's name, and she's
healthier
so good.
food to low-income communities, because if the dollars are flowing there towards healthier food, the brands and the companies are going to bring their food there.
Thank you, Dr. Means. I look forward to supporting your nomination. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you so much, Dr. Means, for being here, for your family, and congratulations on the birth of your
Also
son.
Brooks, right?
If you are confirmed,
Yes.
you know that you will be America's top doctor. And as such, people will be looking to you for scientifically accurate health guidance. So I wanted to drill down a little bit more to understand your views on vaccines and the science supporting Secretary Kennedy's vaccine vision. And I know you said earlier that this really isn't a part of your core message, but I know that you've talked about it before, whether it's on podcasts or on articles or tweets. And so, again, I just wanted to drill down a little bit more on that. And I know previously you stated that hepatitis B vaccine, giving it to a baby born to hepatitis B negative parents, is absolute insanity. And I think you did an analogy to it being criminal. I was really pleased to hear you say so strongly here today that vaccines save lives, that you support the vaccinations for children. And so my first question is, if a mother is hepatitis B positive, is providing the vaccine at birth, the most effective way to prevent transmission to the baby. So again, if a mother is hepatitis B positive, is providing the vaccine at birth the most effective way to prevent transmission to the baby?
I believe certainly that that is the most effective way. Again, I would just say, obviously the patient should talk to their doctor, but yes, that's a pretty clear case where certainly that would have a huge impact.
Thank you for your response. It appears, even as we're talking about the Secretary's vision for vaccines in this country, that he has basically searched the globe to find things to justify his harmful, unpopular vaccine policies. And just a few weeks ago, we had Dr. Bhattacharya here, the head of NIH, and we got into a dialogue, even with the chairman, about using Denmark as our peer to make these kind of decisions. On December 18th, 2025, the CDC announced funding for a study in Guinea-Bissau, a West African country with just over 2 million people. The CDC-funded study proposed withholding the hepatitis B vaccine birth dose from half of the newborn infants in the trial without screening all mothers for hepatitis B. And as you know, as a doctor, that when babies are exposed to the virus at birth, they can face very high risk of liver damage or cancer later in life. So as a doctor and as a mom, would you agree that it is unethical and dangerous to withhold a life-saving vaccine from babies at risk of a preventable disease?
These are obviously extremely important issues. I am not familiar with the announcement that you just talked about.
But hypothetically, just as a scientist, is it unethical to withhold life-saving vaccine for a baby?
I think that in the case where standard of care is to give a vaccine, and that's the gold standard, I have trouble imagining a scenario where a study would be able to withhold that treatment.
Right, because when
but again, I'm not familiar with the study that you're talking about.
Yeah, and again, study is out there, but when a safe, effective vaccine is available, I think not just as a doctor, but as a human, we want to make sure that.
I don't believe that Dr. Jay Bhattacharya or the HHS would be interested in withholding.
So we'll
You
make
need
sure you
to
get the study, 'cause
read.
what's interesting is
Oh
that
my
the
God.
researchers are also
Oh
Danish,
my God.
which is kind of interesting to me.
And also, sometimes the devil's in the details, and I think I would want to
as-
look into this myself.
But as
Well, you
Surgeon
should have.
General,
Did you not prepare
it would
for
be
this?
your responsibility to act legally and ethically. So you might oversee comprehensive scientific reports and oversee the commissioned corps who will conduct research and care for patients throughout the world. Would you advise against a study or refuse to conduct a study with serious ethical implications, even if the secretary or the administration pressured you to?
Certainly, as a physician, as a person, as a mother, ethical concerns are of top priority to me. Protecting patients, protecting children. I am a strong-willed person who has no problem having direct conversations with anyone, and I would not hesitate to have direct private conversations with anyone about ethical concerns. And also, I do not believe that the secretary or anyone in the administration would ask me to do something unethical.
Well, we'll follow up with you on that particular study. I thank you so much for your indulgence, Mr. Chairman, and this is a vital kind of question.
Oh my God. I'm so glad we heard her say that. Wow. Okay. A U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention funded study in West Africa, specifically Guinea-Bissau, was initiated in late 2025, early 2026. I'm going to cry. To investigate the nonspecific effects of the Hep B vaccine, which involved delaying the birth dose for about half the infants in the study. I'm going to cry. The study was planned by Danish researchers Bandem Health Project in Guinea-Bissau. That's why they said Denmark, a nation with a very high burden of hepatitis B. Roughly 1 in 5 people are infected. It aimed to enroll 14,000 newborns to compare health outcomes, with half receiving the birth dose as recommended by the World Health Organization and the other half not, delaying that first dose to 6 weeks. The CDC awarded an unsolicited, non-competitive $1.6 million grant to the project. Critics and public health officials have likened the study to the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. "90% of exposed infants develop a chronic infection. The World Health Organization has deemed the study unethical, noting that withholding a proven life-saving vaccine from newborns in a high-burden setting exposes... I don't understand what we're doing here. They're saying that the study was suspended by Guinea-Bissau officials pending an ethical review for conflicting report. The U.S. funders insist that the study will continue. I don't understand what's happening here. We're testing on African children. We're literally testing on African children. I don't understand what's happening. I don't. Who knows what other stuff is happening? I don't even understand why this. Oh my God, I don't know. It's like everything is so bad, and it's just like, but this is like murder. This is literal just murder because you think that people are disposable. Because you think African people are disposable. That's what is happening right here. This is what's happening right now. This is what's happening. This is beyond the pale. Everything is bad, right? This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. You're Nazi testing. This is fucking Dr. Mengele. How fucking dare you? I just don't understand why anybody thinks this is okay. I really don't. This is insanity. I just don't understand. I don't understand. Yeah. Epstein wrote to Gates, how do we get rid of the poor people? Wait, who's mentally ill? Is somebody laughing at this? I might be missing something. I don't understand. I don't understand this. Oh my God, I don't know. Why? Yeah, okay. I don't know. I don't know. They're gonna vote her in, I know. So whatever. Whatever. This is insane. This is just insanity to me. This is really insanity. I don't know. Ooh, okay. Well, let's move on to something else. Yeah, I know. People think it's funny. I don't know why you would think that's funny. Are you cruel? I guess so. I guess you are cruel. That's what the point is. This is pretty funny. Somebody did an AI of him playing hockey. Yeah. Anyway, I need a minute. I just need a minute. I'm glad people find that humorous. Did Gates respond to the international proletariat seizing the means of production? I don't know. Did he? Is he there? Is he there too? Oh my God. Crazy. Sorry. This is amazing. It's just really incredible to me. Really incredible. It's okay. If people think it's funny, they're going to burn in hell. So, there's that. Sorry. That's the way it works. Reap what you sow. Reap what you sow, bitches. That's in the fucking Bible, too. That's in the Bible, too. Yeah, wrong Gates. Yeah. Oh, boy. Wow. Okay. La, 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 la. Okay. Let's focus here. So I have a few things, actually, I'd like to actually still go over, even though we're probably not going to go back to that. I'm sorry about that. I'm hoping we don't miss any, but that was enough for me to hear. I thought this was interesting. Anthropic's CEO explains his refusal to back down to the Pentagon. I think I have a story on this, but he pointed out a crucial reality. Our military's constitutional projections rely entirely on human soldiers having the ability to disobey an illegal order. AI weapons don't have that failsafe. He also warned that this is the head of an AI company, by the way. He expressed his deep concerns about autonomous drone swarms and mass surveillance. This is the CEO of an AI company. He also warned that AI could completely bypass the Fourth Amendment. Right now, the government can't possibly process every single conversation recorded in public spaces. But with AI's ability to instantly transcribe and connect millions of data points, it could easily map out political opposition in seconds. So let's hear him.
Amendment that's one reason why I'm worried about the autonomous drone swarm, right? So the constitutional protections in our military structures depend on the idea that there are humans who would, we hope, disobey illegal orders. With fully autonomous weapons, we don't necessarily have those protections. But I actually think this whole idea of constitutional rights and liberty along many different dimensions, can be undermined by AI if we don't update these protections appropriately. So, think about the Fourth Amendment. It is not illegal to, put cameras around everywhere in public space and, record every conversation. It's a public space. You don't have a right to privacy in a public space. But today, the government couldn't record that all and make sense of it. Right. With AI, the ability to transcribe speech, to look through it, correlate it all, you could say, oh, there's this, this person is a member of the opposition. This person is expressing this view, and make a map of all 100 million. And so, are you going to make a mockery of the Fourth Amendment by the technology finding kind of technical ways around it? And so, again, if we had the time, and we should do this, we should try to do this even if we don't have the time. Is there some way of reconceptualizing constitutional rights and liberties in the age of AI? Like, we don't need to write a new constitutional, but,
but you have to do this very
fast.
Do
we expand the meaning of the Fourth Amendment? Do we expand the meaning of the First Amendment?
Wait, I'm back. So that's interesting that the actual, there's a story about this that I'll pull up too, so that you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting that the actual CEO. I know this is Krasenstein. I understand. I can't stand the Krasensteins. You know that. Law enforcement will always cheat the Fourth. Yeah, exactly. So just imagine robot cops, robocops. Trump admin admits that Operation Midnight Hammer was a complete and utter failure when they supposedly destroyed Iran's nuclear weapons ambitions last year. So did Trump lie then, or are they lying now to start a new war? This is one part of a Witkoff interview with Lara Trump, which actually is a good interview to watch, but I'm not going to make you watch it. But this part is pretty damning.
And that's it's up to 60%. They're probably a week away from having industrial grade bomb making material, and that's really dangerous. So we can't have that.
So
this is something that it's up to 60%. They're probably a week away.
So Witkoff there is saying that they're only a week away from having enough material to actually make weapons. Enriched uranium, that is. So I thought we obliterated their program. See, this is how this man, first of all, is raping the American economy. I'm just letting you know that. He's selling us to Putin. He's a fucking agent of a foreign government. It's all kinds of bad things. Oh, and his son is also a piece of shit who's making money off our backs right now. Anyway, so apparently it's either that we're totally going to, apparently he's just saying we're going to go to war because they're going to create a bomb like tomorrow. Like literally. So what is it? Bitch. And then this one I also thought was very interesting. This is a little, I wanted to watch this, I wanted to talk about this later. I want to read this, this OpenAI Stargate data center in Abilene. So this account, I don't know much about Hunter Brook. They're supposed to be a media company. We dug into the permits for OpenAI's Stargate data center in Abilene, Texas. Buried on pages 42 and 43, 28 emergency backup generators powered by Baudouin, a French engine brand almost no one sells in America except Generac. And I want to see if it's Hunter Brook Capital. Wait, where is it? Oh, I guess it's not going to show me that. Anyway, I'm going to pull up information more about this Stargate data center because I remember when they started building it and we were talking about it. And I want to get into that because that's the whole data center thing. Let's see. Oh, and this guy, I'm so sorry that we didn't watch the ICE whistleblower session. And I really wanted to. I'm so sorry we missed that. So I thought that I just pulled this. I know it's Maine Wonk. I can't stand him either.
That they learned. And we made them apply it. We put them through a range of scenarios where we could test, do they understand when they can enter a home or not? Do they understand when they can make an arrest or not? And if they showed that they did not know that, we could fail them and send them back and make them try again and demonstrate their knowledge. And if they failed twice, out of the academy. And maybe 6 months later, 90 days later, they could come back after they demonstrated to their home office that they were ready. But today, no matter how badly a cadet does at those practical exams, no matter how many mistakes they make, no matter how egregiously they violate the law during a practical, we graduate them.
It was a Democrat
I have seen
panel.
examples of cadets who have drawn their firearms on each other by accident. I have seen cadets, and this is in the last day or two of training, so this is at the end of the program. I have seen cadets make arrests of individuals that had committed no crime and for which there was no cause to make the arrest, despite the cadet allegedly having been taught the law related to the crimes involved. I have seen officers apply excessive force in these training scenarios where they have made arrest attempts that involved drawing their firearm, using pepper spray, various events that they were not authorized to do and which were not justified by the circumstances, in which no objectively reasonable police officer would have done what they did. And they still graduated. I have seen cadets, and this was a moment that stuck out to me at the academy. I saw a cadet in a scenario where we had bystanders who were allegedly filming or recording what was happening, pull out pepper spray and pepper spray a bystander. And when we asked the cadet afterwards why they did it, their answer was, it's because I've seen what we're doing in Minneapolis. It doesn't matter what we teach them about the law if what they watch on television and on Reddit and on the internet tells them that they can get away with things. The academy can teach them till they're blue in the face. But if they see that in practice the real rules are different than what we're teaching them, they follow the rules that they see.
Thank you. I'm good.
Yeah, let me give you the skinny on this. So this is from the New York Times yesterday. Training for new ICE agents is deficient and broken, whistleblower says. The former official appeared with congressional Democrats. These are Senate Democrats, I think, that had a panel to get his testimony, who also released documents indicating significant reductions in instructional hours for recruits. I'll link this document. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I will link this so that people can take a look. I'll share the gift article, and I'll put that in the description of the video. But yeah, there was a really big set. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Oomph. Yes, perfect. Perfect. I don't know. Do we want to watch that now? Let me see. Let me see what else I've got. I'm going to hold that because let me see what else I've got. I've got a bunch of stuff. Okay, that. Hold on. That's all Casey means. That's that. Oh, let me see what else was next on here. Oh yeah, I don't want to go down the Epstein hole, but oh, and this is this is Richard Blumenthal's clip. Hold on, we'll play this. Oh man, it's too big. You're too big. You're too big. Here we go.
Mr. Schwank, I think you'll recognize this memo. It is a memo written by Acting Director Lyons. We've seen it before at this hearing. It says, in effect, ICE officers should violate the Fourth Amendment. Were you taught or told that you should train ICE agents in accordance with this memo?
Thank you, Senator. Yes, on the very first day I arrived at Glencoe to teach, I was told that we were to instruct cadets to follow the instructions in this memo, but that we would not write down any of those instructions, that we would not keep a record that we taught it to them.
That's a critical point, because I asked Acting Director Lyons whether this memo was distributed, and he said, in fact, that it was with an email that so far they have failed to produce. What you're saying is that you were told not to reveal it, correct?
Thank you, Senator. Yes, I was told not to discuss this memo. In fact, when it was shown to me, I was told not to take notes on it, that I was not allowed to write down any part of it. And for the record, as an attorney for ICE and someone who routinely receives memos and memoranda issued by the agency, this had never crossed my desk before I arrived at the Academy.
So, in effect, you were told, as an instructor on the law, that you were to train ICE agents how to break the law. I think every American should be absolutely horrified by that fact. And you were not alone. This memorandum was the basis for training ICE agents generally, hundreds, thousands of them during this fiscal year. Mr. Schwank.
Nut liquor. I wanted to watch this. Oh, is it 7 minutes? Oh, I kind of want to watch this, though. Can we watch this? Hold on.
This is Howard Lutnick. He is our current U.S. Secretary of Commerce for Donald Trump. He's also the CEO of financial services juggernaut Cantor Fitzgerald, which is currently being run by his two sons. Howard Lutnick is an interesting fellow. He was recently on a podcast discussing his relationship, or lack thereof, with Jeffrey Epstein.
We are in number 11, and he lives in number 9.
And it was riddled with lies. The first lie is his connection to Jeffrey Epstein.
So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy. That guy was there. I wasn't going because he's gross.
So for starters, they were in business together. They were invested into the same company. We can see that the signature of Jeffrey Epstein's right here, as well as the signature of Howard Lutnick. We even have an FBI intake form from a whistleblower from his company that states not only was he connected with Epstein, but there was fraudulent activity going on in his charity that has to do with 9/11. Now, how does this guy have to do with 9/11? His company, Cantor Fitzgerald, suffered 658 deaths that day, almost 1/4 of the total people killed on 9/11. Now, Howard would narrowly escape the 9/11 attacks, blaming his wife for pressuring him to bring his son to their first day of kindergarten, which is interesting because we have multiple sources that say this from the nyc.gov website. The 2001-2000 school year opened citywide for high school students on Wednesday, September 5th, and elementary school the following day. He also does a lot of business with Larry Silverstein, famously the gentleman who put on a 99-year lease agreement on the Twin Towers about 2 months before the attack. Larry also built and owned World Trade 7 that he bought in 1987. Multiple executives also state that from the $135 million payout that was given by American Airlines, that Mr. Lutnick pocketed anywhere between 15 to 25 million of those dollars for himself. But we're not even close to done on this guy, because his sons that are currently running Cantor Fitzgerald are the ones who actually bet against the very tariffs that Mr. Lutnick is involved with Donald Trump. Cantor Fitzgerald and co. say that they have the capacity to buy the rights to hundreds of millions of dollars in potential refunds from companies who have paid Trump's tariffs. And since the Supreme Court recently ruled against these specific types of tariffs, Cantor is set to profit about 3 to 5x, around $10 million on this investment. And he and his sons have remained completely silent on it. Now, in the same interview where he says, "I'm never going to do business with this man, he's gross."
It's gross. That guy's gross. right with my wife. And like, he's gross. The guy's gross.
He also mentions that he bought a property in 1998 that happened to be next door to Jeffrey Epstein, officially moving in 2005.
So we rebuild our house. We move in 2005.
But this is yet another lie simply by omission, because he knows exactly who he bought that property from, and the fact that he didn't truly buy it because he didn't buy it at market value. In 1988, Sam Conversion Corp., formed by Les Wexner, buys 11 East 71st Street. Here's the deed between Sam Conversion Corp., written out for 1988. In 1992, the home was transferred to a trust named 11 East 71st Street, the property address, and that trust was run by Jeffrey Epstein. December 1992, Jeffrey Epstein, trustee of the 11 East 71st Street Trust, being transferred in consideration for $10, and here's the address of the property. And it just so happens that the address for Sam Conversion and for Jeffrey Epstein's trust of 11 East 71st Street is the same exact address listed on the Limited Incorporated, which is the corporation that owns Victoria's Secret, run by Les Wexner. Then 1996, the Comet Trust buys the property. The Comet Trust, which the main trustee for that was a man by the name of Guido Goldman. Guido Goldman's father was the co-founder of the World Jewish Congress and president of the World Zionist Organization. But from the Comet Trust, it would then be transferred to Howard Lutwick for $10. Here's the address, here's the $10, and here we can see Guido Goldman of the Comet Trust going to Howard Lutnick, the home right next to Jeffrey Epstein's. He also claimed in this podcast that he only met him that one time at his property for a home tour.
Your neighbor would like to invite you over for coffee. And he opens the doors, and there's a massage table in the middle of the room. And then he gets weirdly close to me. And he says, and the right kind of massage.
But that story doesn't match up with the files, because in 2009, he wanted to speak with Jeffrey Epstein. In 2011, here's an email saying he needs to return your call. In 2011, also, they scheduled some drinks, and here's the confirmation that those drinks actually happened. Then they go to the actual island. And the island email is very interesting because it was actually sent by his wife.
Now, my wife is standing here. So she looks at me, and I look at her, and we say, I'm sorry. We have to go. My wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again.
December 21st, 2012, Allison Lutwick sends an email to organize a meeting on Pedo Island. Also claimed no philanthropy efforts with Epstein.
So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy.
For $2,700 per person, you get a photo with Hillary. And Lutwick went ahead and invited Epstein to this fundraiser in 2015. Again in 2017, another dinner. And what does Epstein do? Let's give him $50K for it. It's for Howard. And the sister of Howard Lutnick, Edie Lutnick, was one of the founding citizens of Terramar. Terramar being a philanthropy, quote-unquote, project that was run by Ghislaine Maxwell. Fergie, seen here with Ghislaine Maxwell, is the ex-wife of Prince Andrew. She owed Epstein money. She had emails saying, my love and gratitude for you. You're the brother I always wished for. Now, Howard knew Fergie, and to my understanding, they're still close because Fergie still follows Howard on Instagram. And Howard, only following 146 people, also follows Sarah. They're mutuals. Sarah frequented the World Trade Center, with floors 101 to 105 being where Cantor Fitzgerald was housed. And Miss Fergie here was supposed to be in World Trade Center 1 on the morning of September 11, 2001 at the 101st floor, but happened to not make it due to traffic. Here's another email with Epstein discussing Cantor Fitzgerald and Mr. T, whoever that is. Was able to find the term sheet they're referencing in that email. Again, Mr. T. And after stating he had no contact with him after this one meeting, not only did he go to the island, but they were also talking as late as 2018. In an email subjected Frick, Howard Lutnick says to Jeffrey Epstein, are you aware as to them building to block our park views? What should we do about it? Even though the two is redacted, we're able to find the other email, and in his very long-handed communication style says, no, I was not. And then we found the article for the Frick property they were discussing that was going to potentially block their view.
Yeah. That's my story. A one and absolutely done.
Howard Lutnick has historically used his powerful positions for financial gain, and by any standard, he is a liar. And one of the many liars that dwell within this den of corruption that we are slowly mapping out throughout the United States.
Over a 14-year period, I did not have any relationship with him. I barely had anything to do with that person. Okay.
I barely had anything to do with that person. I just had a lot to do with that person, and a lot of it involved money. Do I think Howard engaged in sexual abuse? I have no idea. I think his issue is more along the lines of money and moving money. That's what I think Howard Lutnick was able to do. I don't know about all the other, like the whole thing about Cantor Fitzgerald and all that, and a Fergie and all that. I have no idea. It doesn't, you know what matters to me is arrests, and that this man has a lot to say. And the fact that he sat down with Miranda Devine and divulged all of that bullshit and basically put himself in a corner is fantastic. I'm very, very, very glad, because I don't think the pressure is off of this douchebag. I think he is about to meet his career maker, if you will, because he has a ton of shit around Jeffrey Epstein that is sticking really, really fucking hard to him, frankly. All right, I'm jumping around, sorry, but I wanted to make sure we get to a couple of articles. This one came out yesterday. Court rules against Justice Department search of reporters' computers. The judge said the court itself would search the devices, which were seized from a Washington Post reporter's home last month. A federal magistrate judge ruled on Tuesday that the court and not the Justice Department would search devices that the government seized from a Washington Post. What? The court's going to look at her devices? Come on now. Would search devices that the government seized from a Washington Post reporter's home last month, resolving an impasse over how to handle the materials. The judge, William Porter of the Eastern District of Virginia, came down against an unsupervised wholesale search expedition conducted by the government. Quote, allowing the government's filter team to search a reporter's work product, most of which consists of unrelated information from confidential sources, is the equivalent of leaving the government's fox in charge of the Washington Post's henhouse, he wrote. The Federal Bureau of Investigation obtained an iPhone, 2 computers, and other devices when it searched the home of reporter Hannah Nathanson, who covers the federal government for the Post. The search stemmed from an investigation into a Maryland government contractor, Aurelio Perez Lingones, who has been indicted on charges of transmitting and retaining classified national defense information. One issue in the search is just how much information from Ms. Nathanson's devices is relevant to the prosecution. What? The government, the Post has argued, has a legitimate interest in only an infinitesimal fraction of the data it has seized. Why do they have her data? What does her data have to do with his crimes? Well, I guess we'll find out. The Post, citing First Amendment and attorney-client privilege, requested that the government refrain from reviewing the material on Ms. Nathanson's devices. A hearing last week considered the Post requests that all devices be returned so that the company could sift through the information and provide relevant materials in compliance with a subpoena it had received the day of the search. The government pushed for retention of the devices and the deployment of a so-called filter team to evaluate materials on them. This is not right. Oh my God. At the hearing, Judge Porter criticized Justice Department officials for failing to mention a 1980 law, the Privacy Protection Act, in seeking a search warrant of Ms. Nathanson's home. That law says that a search for reporting materials, quote, shall be unlawful unless there is probable cause the reporter committed certain crimes to which the materials relate. How could you miss it? How could you think it doesn't apply? The judge asked a Justice Department lawyer. In his ruling on Tuesday, Judge Porter noted that the court generally granted prosecutors some latitude on the issue, assuming that they have satisfied their obligation to disclose controlling and relevant authority. Given the department's omission, however, Judge Porter wrote, the government's conduct has disturbed that baseline posture of deference. Judge Porter will develop a process for reviewing the materials. The hearing on the case is scheduled for March 4th. In a statement, the Post said, we applaud the court's recognition of the core First Amendment protections and its rejection of the government's expansionist arguments for searching Hannah Nathanson's devices and work materials in their entirety and placing itself in charge of determining their relevance. The Justice Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment. So that's that update. Now, this is the Anthropic. I should have had this next to the interview with the Anthropic CEO, but this is the story I was wanting to find on the Pentagon. and Anthropic, who I guess doesn't want to make their drones. Anthropic insists on limits on how its technology is used and could be labeled a supply chain risk if it fails to accept the military's demands. Oh, there's pig's breath. Boy, that's the most sober he's looked for a minute. This is from today, I think. Is it? No, yesterday. The Pentagon delivered an ultimatum to Anthropic, the only artificial intelligence company currently operating on classified military systems, ordering the firm to bend to its demands by Friday. If the firm fails to agree by a 5:01 p.m. On Friday, Defense Secretary Pete Pigsbreath and the Dump Administration would invoke the Defense Production Act, compelling the use of its model by the military and labeling the company a supply chain risk, according to a senior Pentagon official. That step would put Anthropic's government contracts at risk. The two threats are fundamentally at odds. One would prevent the government from using the company's products, while the other would force the company to let the government use the products. Despite the contradiction, the threats reflect the level of anger in the top ranks of the Pentagon toward Anthropic for resisting its demands and how important the company's model has become to the military. The Pentagon knows they are issuing an extreme threat. They are using every button or lever they have, said Jessica Tillipman, an associate dean at George Washington University Law School. The bigger issue here is that it waters down these designations. They're transforming what is designed to be national security tools into a point of leverage for business. Mr. Hegseth summoned Dario Amodei, the Anthropic chief executive, to the Pentagon on Tuesday for a morning meeting. The tone of the discussion was civil, but when Anthropic did not agree to Mr. Pigsbreath's demands, he leveled the threats against it, according to the people briefed on the meeting. The New York Times spoke to people on both sides of the debate over Anthropic's work with the military, but they spoke on the condition that their names not be used to discuss the sensitive negotiations. Anthropic has argued that it was asking for reasonable assurances that its model would not be used for surveillance of Americans or in autonomous weapons, such as drone operations, that did not involve human oversight. Anthropic supporters have contended that the company is being punished for being first on the classified system and creating a special model, Claude Gov, that does not have the same guardrails and restrictions that their models available to the public have. Pentagon officials have said that using the software and weapons lawfully is their responsibility, one they take seriously. But the officials say they cannot effectively allow all their contractors to specify how the equipment they sell to the Pentagon will be used, and that lawful use must be the only constraint. While the Defense Production Act gives the Pentagon wide-ranging powers, it is usually invoked in manufacturing contexts. It would be unusual for the act to be used on a software company, forcing Anthropic to make its product available for free. An Anthropic spokesman said that the company had continued good faith conversations in the meeting at the Pentagon. The spokesman said the company wanted to support the government, but needed to ensure that its models were used in line with what they could reliably and responsibly do. But the senior Pentagon official rejected those demands and said the debate had nothing to do with those issues. The Pentagon wants all artificial intelligence contracts to stipulate that the military can use the models for any lawful purpose. What if they're not lawful, though? The official confirmed that the Pentagon has an agreement with Elon Musk's company xAI to use its artificial intelligence model, Grok, on the classified system, but it will take time to integrate Grok onto classified cloud servers and into software from Palantir, a data analytics company that the military uses. More important, Anthropic's Claude is considered a superior product to Grok, regularly yielding more accurate information. The Pentagon is also close to an agreement with Google to bring its Gemini model into the classified system, but the senior officials said the deal was not complete. A person briefed on the meeting said Anthropic would continue to demand assurances that its models are not used for autonomous weapons programs or mass surveillance. Pentagon officials took issue with Anthropic after Palantir reported a conversation that one of its employees had with a counterpart at the artificial intelligence company regarding the U.S. military operation last month to capture Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela. In the meeting on Tuesday, Mr. Amodei said there had been a misunderstanding and that his company had not reached out to Palantir or the Pentagon about the Maduro operation, according to a person briefed on the meeting. Mr. Amodei insisted his company had never objected to or interfered with legitimate military operations. Here's the correction made. An earlier version of this article incorrectly described Anthropic's as Claude Gov. its guardrails and restrictions are different from those of the company's models available to the public, not from class. I don't even know what that means, but okay. So there's a little bit of kerfuffle in the AI. Where are they? I think Anthropic, I want to say it's Colorado, but I don't know that. Hold on. They could be in California, I guess. Anthropic. Not anthropology. Where are you, Anthropic? Oh my God. Oh, okay. Are you gonna Google for me? Here. Oh, you're trying. Oh, you're trying. Okay. What? Wait a minute. What now? Wait, huh? What? Who now? What? Huh? Hi. Hold on, Sammy. Wait, I just found something else that caught my eye. But let me see. Where are they based? Where are they based? Hi, Anthropic. Location. Oh, San Francisco. Okay. They're in Sam Clam's Disco. Okay. Oops. But this is interesting. What the fuck does this mean? Okay, let me finish this because or actually, did I finish it already? Yeah, I did. Okay. Wait. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This is Anthropic ditches its core safety promise in the middle of an AI redline fight with the Pentagon. This is 3 hours ago. Anthropic, a company founded by OpenAI exiles worried about the dangers of AI, is loosening its core safety principle in response to competition. Instead of self-imposed guardrails constraining its development of AI models, Anthropic is adopting a non-binding safety framework that it says can and will change. I don't understand that. In a blog post Tuesday outlining its new policy, Anthropic said shortcomings in its 2-year-old responsible scaling policy could hinder its ability to compete in a rapidly growing AI market. The announcement is surprising because Anthropic has described itself as the AI company with a soul. It also comes the same week as Anthropic is fighting a significant battle with the Pentagon over AI. It's not clear that Anthropic's change is related to its meeting Tuesday with Defense Secretary Pete Pigsbreath, who gave Anthropic Dario Amodei an ultimatum to roll back the company's AI safeguards or risk losing a $200 million Pentagon contract. The Pentagon threatened to put Anthropic on what is effectively a government blacklist. But the company said in its blog post that its previous safety policy was designed to build industry consensus around mitigating AI risks, guardrails that the industry blew through. Anthropic also noted its safety policy was out of step with Washington's current anti-regulatory political climate. Anthropic's previous policy stipulated that it should pause training more powerful models if their capabilities outstripped the company's ability to control them and ensure their safety, a measure that's been removed in the new policy. Anthropic argued that responsible AI developers pausing growth while less careful actors plowed ahead could result in a world that is less safe. As part of the new policy, Anthropic said it will separate its own safety plans from its recommendations for the AI industry. So we'll tell you what to do, but we're not going to actually do it because nobody else is doing it, so we might as well not do it. That's what I took away from that. Oh, Anthropic wrote that it had hoped its original safety principles would encourage other AI companies to introduce similar policies. But they didn't. Anthropic's new safety policy includes a frontier safety roadmap that outlines the company's self-imposed guidelines and standards, but the company acknowledged the new framework is more flexible than its past policy. Rather than being a hard commitments, these are public goals that we will openly grade our progress towards. Oh my God. Oh, shit. Well, goddamn. I think I need to take a nap. Oh, what an emotional day. I just can't get over the West African study. I'm not over that. I'm not. That's really bad. That's really bad. Ah, man. I don't know. I'm not sure, guys. I'm not sure. Hold on. Let me get rid of this. Let's go back to our fire. Oh. New scientist, AI can't stop recommending nuclear strikes in war game. Really? I guess it doesn't really matter to the machine, right? I mean, I guess. I don't know. I keep seeing code developers gleefully gushing that Claude will replace them in the coming months or years. Whoops. LLM tech is amazing, but the way it is rolled out horribly horrific. Oh my God. It's just the worst. And the fact that Anthropic is like backing down, like we're going to back down. Like who are you helping? Who are you helping? Who do you serve? Who do you protect? I don't know. I hope this revolution really speeds up. Could we speed up? Oh, thank you for your 15 folks hanging in there. I really appreciate it. 15, 17. I really appreciate you coming today. Larry Summers retired from Harvard. Yeah, where are the indictments? I don't give a shit if anybody else retires. I want to see indictments. I want to see Les Wexner perp walked. I want to see Paul Attia perp walked. I want to see Steve Bannon perp walked. I want to see him. But no, because we're protecting pedophiles. Yeah, I'll link. Yes, I will definitely put the link to the study in there. Absolutely. And all that, the blog post and everything. Oh my golly, Molly. I need to smoke a lot of weed, I think. Anyway. I don't really know. I don't really know how you stop this. The Maduros, I think they're in New York. I think the Maduros are in New York. I think they're in Brooklyn. Yeah, especially Bannon. Yeah, and Trump. My God. And I don't know. I want to hear what other people had to do, too. I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. Just the fact that I just picture RFK like literally gleefully waiting for children to die in West Africa. I don't know. How can people be so heartless? That's a song. How can people be so heartless? That's a great song. What's the name of that song? How can people be so easy to be hard? Oh, God, this is a great song. Wait, where's the lyrics? I don't know the whole song, so I probably won't get that. How can people be so heartless? How can people be so cruel? Easy to be hard, easy to be cold. I don't know the sound of that. I need to listen to it. I need to listen to it.
How can people be so heartless? How can people be so cruel? Easy to be hard, easy to be cold. How can people have no feeling? How can they ignore their friends? Easy to be proud, easy to say no.
Sorry, I'm going to get spanked for that. I just don't understand people, whoever's like laughing at me, mocking me, whatever. I know there's people out there doing that. I don't know how you sleep at night. I don't really know how you sleep at night. Yeah, for orgasmo. I just don't know. I don't know how you sleep at night. I don't know why you deserve anything nice, because if you are so heartless that you are celebrating that children in West Africa are at risk of being killed, then I don't really understand. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I don't understand how you can support a credibly alleged child rapist. I don't know how you can support a tariff policy which literally is going to ruin the lives of hundreds of millions of people. We are less safe. I understand. And they think they're empathic. I know these folks think that that somehow, I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I want them to have just as good a life as I want for myself. Even the people that hate me. I want them to have just as good a life as anybody. I'm not against them. I'm against their beliefs if they're trying to exclude people from life. But I'm not against them existing. And I want the best for everyone. That's what a leftist is, by the way. Anyway, go to the beach. Good idea. I don't think I can go to the beach today, but that's a good idea. I should. Actually, I do need to go to the beach. I don't know, one of these days. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me this morning. And thanks for coming to the SOTU last night if you were able to make it. I'm really grateful to Live TV also. You've never heard that song? Oh my God, it's a good one. What year was that? It's Three Dog Night. I'll put that in the link too. How can people be so heartless? Yeah, Three Dog Night's pretty good. El Matador was my favorite LA area beach. El Matador is a wonderful beach. Thank you so much, Sharon Brown, and everyone. Well, let's hope for a better world, I guess. I don't know. I'm not really sure how we get out of this one, but I'll see you tomorrow morning and Thursday, bright and girly at 7 a.m. I'm sure we have more fun. And I have more reading. I'll try and do a better job of organizing it. I feel a little bit all over the place again today, but that's fine. All right. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day. I really hope you do. And I hope I see you. It is Song from Hair. Yes, it is a song from Hair. Really, have a wonderful day. And I hope I see you tomorrow morning. And take care. All right. Love y'all too.
Especially people who care about strangers, who care about evil and social injustice. Do you only care about the bleeding crowd? How about a needed friend? I need a friend. How can people be so heartless? I'm hung up on you.